right. Good night, everybody. It is Friday night, and we are here to bring the noise. It is me, Alan C., with my esteemed co-host, Marty R., who I'm told can cut a record from side to side. Marty, cutting any records today?
Nope. I don't know where we're going yet.
Well, and the steam was just completely sucked out of that little in-joke. Thanks, Marty. Way to hold up your end of the show. It's gonna be a long night.
I was left in the dark, people. I didn't know what was happening.
And that is why we have brought an expert on to help carry the load of this particular evening. Before we do that, let's go over a few of the basics. Really glad to have everybody on board. Hope folks have had a good week and are looking forward to covering a little bit of classic thrash with me, myself, Marty, and our special guest to come on in just a moment. Before we do that, we, of course, have T-shirts. If you'd like to order one, just use the link that Marty's got in the show notes. He's got them available in all sizes. Really appreciate all the folks who have already ordered one.
Yeah, crazy.
Marty will fairly soon be adding these fly new hats to the merch store as well. Handcrafted. Each one is basically personalized by him, not me.
Right.
But we also, the stream tonight does have the super chat feature. Sometimes folks ask if there's a way they can help out a little bit, and that's a way you can throw a few bucks our way to help cover the cost for StreamYard. There's a monthly fee we pay for that when we need to get like new microphones or something like that. Sooner or later, somebody's computer is going to die. We'll need some upgrades at that point. Again, nobody should ever feel pressured to use the super chat if they don't want to, or if
but do it.
We're going to deliver the same high quality entertainment here, whether folks do or not. But it's there for folks that wanted to contribute. And with that, I do believe, Marty, it's about time to bring in tonight's guest.
Yes, speaking about high quality. If one of the best shows on YouTube, I say it every time, and it's true.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you think so highly of my channel.
Yeah. Let's Talk Metal is a fantastic show, but I'm talking about this gentleman right here, the Barbecutioner.
Oh, yeah, his is good too.
Philip from Chromium Dioxide Radio. And also, before you say anything, Philip, I was looking at your sub count just before we jumped on.
Yeah.
You're damn close to 2,000. So, anybody here, there's a link in the description. Jump on down, subscribe to Chromium Dioxide Radio. Let's get this gentleman over 2,000 subscribers tonight. It's
Weeder hash, comment below.
Right, exactly. Click the bell and comment and all that good stuff. And hours of excellent entertainment there awaiting you. Philip, how are you tonight?
Kind of pissed.
Why are you pissed? We made you wait because we made you wait.
But even if you're pissed, it's good to have you back, everybody. Once again, back is the incredible, the rhyme animal, the Chromie D, #1.
People, 3 weeks ago, I say to Marty, I'm like, Marty, you want to come on the show? He's like, no, can't do it. Got a full schedule.
I said, fuck you, is what I said. Yeah. You wait your fucking turn, is what I said.
And then I got like really I got a sour on. Because, the internet really does that to me sometimes.
A sour on? You got a lizard?
I got a sour on. I
heard that about him.
It's in a real bad mood about, Anthrax takes an awful lot of shit. And when I even pitched this at you, I felt like you were rolling your eyes.
No, I was not. Oh, you mean Armored in Chains Pantera Thrax? Why would I do that?
I just feel it's one of those bands that just doesn't get enough respect. And it's weird because they're one of the big four. They're one of the four biggest bands in thrash. How could they not get enough respect? I agree, but I'm just being devil's advocate here. Well, sure. And it's like, and I'm not comparing them to Nickelback, but it's like when people are saying Nickelback shit, but yet Nickelback concerts always sell out. Like what's going on there? So I think people are in the closet Anthrax fans, right?
Right.
I think it's by.
Does that mean we have to be in the closet Nickelback fans? Because I don't like where this is going.
Look, Alan, I've been in the tub all day, listening to Dungeon Synth and drinking Brandy Alexander's. I am ready to rumble, man.
It's fine. I'm just saying, if it gets out, that we're down with Nickelback. A magazine or two is going to be dissing me and dissing you.
He's on
Yeah,
fire.
I'm telling you.
Cheers to you for being a responsible male. I did the same thing, except my chilling device of choice was a bag of frozen peas.
I had to go to work after I got snipped.
That's horseshit. I
I
don't know
did.
how anybody could do that. That is horseshit.
That'll
no
tell
thanks.
you what a beast I am.
You are a beast.
I was walking like a fucking cowboy and on the Tylenol, just living life.
Ooh, Tylenol. They really juiced you up.
Yeah, I'm sponsored by Tylenol now as well.
That's Canadian Medicare right there for you, folks.
Yeah.
That's how it works up north.
We get it free.
Mhm. All the Tylenol he could want.
Yeah, we have
probably wasn't enough.
Milk and Tylenol dropped off at the door. I used to be a big Anison man, but times have changed.
Yeah, and Anison kind of went the way of the Golden Girls, I guess.
That's right, Glenn. I'm back.
You know what? And he was supposed to be here earlier, but he canceled 1 week because he had something come up. I don't remember what it was, but he had something.
Maybe a vasectomy.
Yeah.
Ran out of Tylenol.
Yeah, Carl's hating on Anthrax already. Carl, don't get me started, girlfriend.
So let's discuss why Anthrax. Why did you feel that they've been disrespected? Was it because of the Armored and Chains Pantera Thrax era that you think they were a little bit?
It's their own fault in some ways. They've made some really piss poor, silly decisions sometimes. But I don't know. It's just ever since I've been into metal, and Anthrax was really the very first band that I got into. Whenever I would say I was an Anthrax fan, and growing up in Labrador, I mean, it's not like you had access to these little underground record stores. You had Columbia House. You had whatever your Walmarts or whatever brought in. So that's all you knew. So that when you talk about Big Four, like we all kind of roll our eyes at that classification. But at the same time, it was nothing but a world of justice for all. So far, so good. So what? You know what I mean? And State of Euphoria.
Yeah,
that's what I was exposed to. But whenever I was the guy that said, "Hey, you know what? Anthrax is my band," everyone just rolled their eyes. Even in the 80s, like the late 80s, when I got into them, they were just like, bunch of fucking clowns, always smiling. I'm like, yeah, but Eddie Van, I get it. When Eddie Van Halen smiled, it kind of irritated me a lot too. Was he so goddamn happy? So I'm a hypocrite in some ways, but yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna disagree with you here because, I mean, I look back on my metal evolution, and Anthrax were right there with Metallica. I spun just as much Anthrax as I spun Metallica, and there were times I spun probably more Anthrax than Metallica. Megadeth creeped in there a bit too. I mean, I love the first two. I love Rust in Peace. So far, so good. Kind of lost me, but Anthrax got me into comics. I bought Judge Dredd comics. I started buying other comics, and that became a whole thing for a while. And I don't know, man. I look up to the band a lot. I still listen to them. They lost me during the John Bush era, but I came back strong when Joey came back, and they put out some of their best material. I don't know. What do you think, Alan? What are your thoughts on Anthrax?
Yeah, the Anthrax is a kind of goofy one, and the operative word I think is goofy. When they're good, they represent some of the best elements of big time thrash, but they did have that sort of slightly cartoonish angle about them that the other members of the Big Four didn't. I don't know if that's just a difference of being an East Coast versus a West Coast thing, but the Bay Area thrash, it was all like underage drinking and flipping the bird and getting wasted and serious shit. And you flip over to Anthrax and these guys kind of jumping around in shorts and smiling and talking more about skateboarding and a little more of a positive vibe going on, which again at times works really, really good, but it makes it all a little less serious. And a whole lot of metalheads out there, who I'm talking about, we're bad to take ourselves a little too seriously. We're bad to take our metal a little too seriously. That it's got to be, everyone's got a frown on the record covers, and it's all got to be, fuck you, what you looking at, and this is hardcore shit, man. And metal fans sometimes have a little trouble loosening up and having fun. And Anthrax often seem to be having a whole lot of fun. And, yeah, I think Philip's right. I think that sometimes rubbed people the wrong way and made people take them less seriously.
God forbid we have a good time.
Yeah. It's
right.
kind of like you go to these shows and you're cheering and having a big time, getting wasted on that. But afterwards, somebody else like, "Oh no, man, it was fucking brutal in the pit and elbows flying, all that stuff." It's like, "Oh, I screamed like a little girl when Kirk Hammett did his solo." You were doing it. You were screaming like a little girl, but you don't want to admit it or something because you lose too many true metal street cred points or something. So yeah. Anthrax, always had that funny. They were the goofy one in the Big Four, and goofy doesn't always sit well with metal fans.
Smiling is for posers. He's right. I'm going to tell you.
I'm reminded a lot of the. Sorry, Philip. I'm reminded if anybody is familiar with the movie NWH, which is the gangster rap version of Spinal Tap, where they follow the fake version of Public Enemy around and all this, and they go on this big diatribe about it's like why you guys always, why do all you gangster rappers look so serious on your album covers? Why aren't you smiling? And they go off on this whole diatribe like you can't be smiling because punks think they be owning you and shit. And it's very much the same way in metal circles. And if you haven't seen the movie, it's absolutely fucking hilarious. If you know anything about late 80s rap culture, it's one of the funniest things you'll ever watch. Highly politically incorrect, but very, very funny.
Well, I mean, I think there's two things you kind of touched on there, but the East Coast, West Coast thing, you know what I mean? Like that's a major, the other three guys, and let's just keep it in Big Four terms for now. Let's just keep it simple. And then we'll vomit on that term afterwards. They're LA bands, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of flash rock, and Eddie Van Halen parties, good times. You know what I mean? That's what that is. That's what those kids grew up on. You have Anthrax growing up in, formative years in 77, and you've got rap, you've got disco, you've got punk going on at the same time.
Yep.
And it trickled down into their music. And I think that pissed that kind of influence that they can blend seamlessly into mix those other genres into their metal, for better or for worse, has made them a target as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's a major problem. And another thing why a lot of guys hate this band, a lot of the punks, was because of their kind of like creeping into the hardcore scene, showing up at CBGBs at the time. And remember the rumor about Charlie kind of, and this is completely stupid, but the New York Hardcore X?
Yeah.
Right? He started to draw it on some of the shirts, and you can see it like the mosh on the skateboard drawings and stuff. And there was a rumor that it was copyrighted or something, and that the punks weren't going to be allowed to use it anymore. So it was, that very first show that Anthrax did, that punk show that they did, with, Jesus Christ, I've gone blank here. Who was that with? It was a Disaster. They had security come in. Someone write it down. Jesus, I know this. I can't remember the name. I've got the poster back here somewhere. Anyways, yeah, I mean, it was an absolute war because Anthrax.
Agnostic Front.
No, was it Agnostic?
Exploited? Was it in that place in Jersey, that really shifty place out there in Jersey? I can't remember the name of it.
Come on, Metal T, you know this. I'm embarrassed now that I can't even remember this. I think it's the Scotch already. Yikes, for a night. Yeah, but I like I said, I think that those influences, and them kind of borrowing, especially from punk and the hardcore scene, really pissed them off. Thank you at the Olympic, Ryan, DRI, and COC. Yes,
okay.
That's the one. Oh yeah, I mean they couldn't play. I mean, like everyone was fighting in the audience, and like imagine old school metalheads. You know what I mean? Clashing with punks. Wasn't it good?
Well, it was like when Destruction toured with Cro-Mags and oh fuck. I mean, it was the same thing. There were fights in the crowd. I mean, it was at the time two genres that weren't mixing that well. Even though there was a lot of similarities in the music, the cultures were not having it at the time. I went out and covered the first ever New England Metal and Hardcore Fest for Maniacs, and there was like Man of War along with a bunch of hardcore bands, and I was handing out my zine at the time too. And the hardcore kids wanted nothing to do with the free zine, especially because it was metal. And just the crowd, the mosh pit, the hardcore kids were bringing the kung fu style shit, and the metalheads were just drunk and run around a circle and push each other around. That was it. And there was just such a weird conflict. Even all those years later, it still seemed awkward. You know what I mean? It was fine. There was no fights or anything, but it was just awkward.
I liked it better that way.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
I like everyone's getting along right now, and the punks and the metalheads, and they're all at the same shows together. I kind of like having your own little posse. You know what I mean? I love, when I talk to Eric on High Defamation TV, but
yes,
you
sir.
can tell he comes from a punk background, and I'm unapologetically metal, and we can clash on certain things, which makes for great conversation, and it makes it kind of fun, but we do clash. You know what I mean?
Yep. Let me ask this question. This is a hypothetical question. Anthrax is, of the big four, they are the only East Coast band. I mean, obviously the answer to the question I'm going to ask, the easy answer is record sales. But why do you think a band like Anthrax were clumped in with the big four as opposed to like Nuclear Assault or Overkill, who went on to put out some pretty big albums at the time too? Both were on, Overkill was on a major. I don't know about Nuclear Assault. No, they were smaller time, but they were on IRS, which was a big label, which is very weird. The same labels REM was on, wasn't it? But why do you think it was Anthrax? We'll say, I mean, obviously the easy answer is album sales, but Nuclear Assault could have fit right in there. Overkill would have sat right in there. Hey, Battle Bat Cat, thanks a lot. Wow, that's super generous. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Why do I think? Well, album sales happen for a reason, and I think they slept their way to the middle. I think they associated themselves with Metallica, which was Dave Mustaine as well, linked to Megadeth. And Anthrax in the beginning weren't very good. It's been well documented. Johnny Z found them horrible.
Yeah,
right? They were very tenacious. Scott, had a lot of money as well, so he could record and re-record, and he had access to a lot of great equipment, so that helped. All right, so I gave him a little bit of a jump start over the rest. But yeah, I think they were, like I said, they were different than a lot of the other bands. They added that East Coast flavor and linking themselves with Johnny Z. It didn't hurt that when Metallica first showed up in New York, it was the Anthrax guys that helped Metallica, and it's networking, baby.
So it's probably the Johnny Z connection. He was probably the one that ensured that they were going to, if there was ever going to be a big four, his inclusion probably had a lot to do with it, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, people will talk about, Exodus should be the fourth one, or Testament. Yeah, listen, I've got no problems with any of that. But, or Overkill. I mean, Overkill's another band that's interesting. I mean, that's where Danny Spitz came from.
Yep. Yeah, indeed. When they were doing dress up time.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
I love when everyone's dressing like vampires and cartoon Ravenloft stuff. I dig that too. But Anthrax, and you know what's funny? Slayer, and you can name any of these bands, but Slayer, Megadeth, and Metallica, they've shit-talked each other for centuries. I have never, ever heard any of those guys talk shit about Anthrax. I haven't. They've always been. Spitz was in Overkill.
He was indeed.
Yeah, but they've always respected Mustaine. I mean, Jesus, Mustaine probably shit talks his mother. Oh man, Anthrax has always had their own unique sound, and they've been very courteous to us. And they gave them food, literally gave them food and a place to stay. You know what I mean? And
yep. Yeah, all good points. Anthrax also, of those other candidates that you just mentioned, one thing Anthrax did better than the rest, Anthrax utilized MTV. Anthrax had videos that got into.
So did Overkill. So did Nuclear Assault.
They had videos, but they did not get the same amount of play. They never quite got as far up in the rotation as the Anthrax videos. So they didn't get the same exposure. I mean, if you wanted to see an Overkill video, you were only going to see it on the Headbangers Ball. The Anthrax videos, every now and then they could, sneak into some other things here and there.
Right.
So as far as the shit talking thing, that's interesting, Philip. I can't think of an exception. The only thing I can remember is, and this wasn't any of the bands talking. This was, some of the folks that put together the Murder in the Front Row thing. They mentioned that when Anthrax did one of their first shows in the Bay Area, that they felt like Anthrax was a very inferior band at that stage. That the local hometown heroes kind of shit all over Anthrax, and that they felt that kind of pushed Anthrax to get a little tighter and a little heavier and get a little more serious about things. But again, that's not coming from any of the bands. That was just coming from those guys that compiled the book.
Yeah, because they were outsiders from New York coming over there. And the other reason why they're there, they thought, is because they're friends with Metallica and Johnny Z. Yep. And okay, Nikki, good point there too, man. Anthrax, I'm Married with Children. Anthrax, being from New York also, I mean, they also had, their finger on the pulse, like pop culture wise too. Mad Magazine, Mort Drucker. Okay. I just held up these Stephen King novels. Okay. And there's another important thing here. And then you've got this.
Judge Dredd, yeah.
It was safe for 14-year-olds and 13-year-olds to listen to this music because it didn't come from such a dark, angry place. I remember first getting into metal, and you come home with Killing Is My Business, and my mother would be like, "Oh, I don't think so." Right. Right. And then she'd read it. My parents were very progressive, but they were nervous. But then you get a band that's like, we're crying for the Indians, man. We're writing songs about homeless people, and who cares wins. So it's a socially conscious band. And if you read the lyrics, it's like, wow, this really does. Sometimes it comes across as first year university students, you know what I mean? And the way they're preaching to you. But at the same time, it comes from a knowledgeable, heartfelt place. And I think that they're a very, very smart band. Unfortunately, they're lumped in with a lot of stupid people, and they had to act stupid.
That's a good point. I mean, a lot of music, the New York scene, often has that little arty under vibe that you don't get with the California scenes.
Yeah, and you're right, Metal T. Anthrax is a gateway drug. Absolutely, because even before I knew what Anthrax was, I'm a very visual. I'm a graphic person. I come from advertising. You know what I mean? And animation. And I remember the very first time, this is not Anthrax, but Anthrax related. I remember being on vacation in about 85 in Nova Scotia. And we stopped at a gas station. And something caught my eye. And I couldn't explain it, but it drew me in. And I went over and I asked my parents to buy it for me. They did. And my uncle and cousins, I ruined their summer because this thing that my parents bought me was something to torture them. So here I am, and here it is. Not. All right. Now, that pisses people off. I know, because my cousin punched me in the stomach, and I would bring it to restaurants, and he would eat French fries, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. They're called funny faces. I remember I had a whole set of them, but this one in particular, I loved. So I think Anthrax found me, right? Because I was the kid that was into comics. I was the kid that was into Stephen King and horror movies, and I was like, Jesus, this was for me the first time I understood what a band was. Because, when people talk about Kiss, Gene and Paul and Ace, and Peter Criss, that's the lineup. For me, this was the first time I understood what a band was. Spitz, Belladonna, Bello. I was, when I first got into them, I was so enamored, and I was so young that I actually almost thought that they all lived together. I did. I thought that they were best friends. I thought they had, big sleepovers, and they traded comics all the time. Because for the most part, when you saw Headbangers Ball and Anthrax were on there, the other guys were all fucking metal. And Anthrax are in the middle of a comic store with giant crayons and Groucho Marx glasses on, and they're talking about, "Hey, check this out. This is my Night of the Living Dead trading cards," right? And I'm like, yeah, it's like, oh, I want to be your friend.
Yeah,
right? That was me.
yeah.
And that's where I wanted to. I'm not an angry guy. I don't come from an angry place. Thank God I grew up in a happy middle class family. Killing Is My Business is my favorite album of all time. I've got a little bit of rage in me, no doubt. That's the French and Irish blood. But I'm a happy guy, man. I'm a happy guy with supportive parents. And when you come across a band, a thinking man's band like Anthrax, it's just like, they're not infallible. They've made mistakes. But I think that's what's make them interesting, because of their influences and that, like, being able to blend shit together. I think they're very innovative, more than all the other ones. Besides Metallica, I mean, Metallica created all this shit. I know.
Well, I do want to talk about the music for a bit because of the big four. I mean, Anthrax is a standout band. They don't sound like the other guys. I mean, obviously Metallica and Megadeth, there's some similarities there. Obviously, Dave had a hand in the first 3 albums, whether he wanted to or not. Anthrax, for me, I put them on. I love the loud bass sound, the loud, clear, affected bass sound. I love, Scott's crunching and just really solid, palm muted. They just have they sound like Anthrax. And I think what really bothered me about the John Bush era, especially, revisiting it this week, they're trying to stray away from their sound a little bit, which annoyed me. It's not a total abandonment of their sound, but they started bringing the 90s we talked about on here just about every week. It seems like the 90s were tough for bands like this. But look at what Metallica did. Metallica, they're the first ones to jump. Really, they jumped into the Black Album. Granted, it still sells 9,000 albums a week, I'm told, or a month. I don't know. I can't remember the stats.
Every 17 minutes.
It's a ridiculous
Marty,
amount.
so does Bud Light and copies of Big British Bums Volume 13. We got to be careful using sales figures to prop up an argument.
But I'm saying is they were the first ones to start to abandon their sound a little bit. Anthrax stayed true through it all until they hit the 90s and had a bit of an identity crisis. Megadeth, they did the same thing. The 90s were tough on thrash and super heavy metal bands, but I don't know. What do you guys think about all this? The sound of Anthrax.
I disagree with you.
You disagree with me? How so?
Vehemently. First off, let me acknowledge Metal T. Fuck yes, I got it. All right, that's why I was laughing through the whole time. I wasn't laughing at you, Marty. It's that jackass in the back of class, man. Yes, I got it. Produced by Don Dawkins. You fuck. Anyways, Anthrax has always had an identity problem. Go back to their first album. Go to their second album.
Well, that's a big
progress.
Change.
That's progress.
It's a change.
You're like, who are you? And then you go, are you a metal band? Are you a power metal band, speed metal band, or are you? You guys are hard. Oh, now it's Panthrax and Chains.
Oh wait, I wrote it down. Armored in Chains, Pantherathrax.
Yeah,
Anselmo going to sue your ass for that.
Yeah, they were innovators, and then later on, as we'll discuss,
we're losing you, Phil.
Philip, you're going a little bit robot on us.
Your connection's draining. Oh, you're back. The whole chunk you just said was not caught. It was you spaced out there for a sec. They're innovators is the last thing we heard. They're innovators.
They're innovators, but now, as we find out later on, that they're more influenced by other things. But that's just a survival.
Yep. So here we are. Should we jump into this ranking?
Oh, this is a ranking?
This is a ranking. Well, you knew this.
Listen, I got to tell you, I'm going to use the old cliche. It's like, they're all my children.
Well, you're going to have to rank your children. So we're going to start with you, Philip. 11 albums to choose from. What is your number 11?
I can't believe I'm doing this. I really can't.
You
I think
wanted this.
no. I can't believe the selection I'm about to do, because for the most part, I think album rankings are bullshit. Because ask me tomorrow, and it's going
I
to be
know.
completely different.
That's the different.
Right?
That's these things are always like that.
Especially when I go back to old Chromium magazines and I read some of the reviews, and I'm like, ooh, that didn't age well at all.
Right.
I even use. Forgive me, people. Eric got mad at me for this, and he's made me a better person. I use the word wigger slam a lot, and people got very cross with me. I refer that to Anthrax. I'm a better person now. I've learned. Right. I can't believe that I'm doing this. Are you ready for my last Anthrax album?
Oh my gosh.
Least
Number
favorite?
11. Least favorite. Wow.
They're Chinese. They're Chinese democracy.
I'm a little shocked.
Yeah.
Chinese democracy.
I'm coming out roaring. Oh, baby, the drama. To me, if you're a comic book reader, in the whole Anthrax vein here tonight, if you're into like the What If comics, if you ever sat down and said, in an alternate universe, if Joey didn't get fired, what would those Bush era Anthrax sound like, if he stayed on? And your answer is this. Because this album, and it's funny how history repeats itself, because let me tell you something, man, oh shit, they're back, look, where did they go? They're gone back home. They're gone back to Megaforce. Who's got to clean up the mess when they've got vocalist issues? Who is it? Who's always in the wings with battered wife syndrome?
Joey.
Yep. Joey came to me, this album would sound much, much better if it had John Bush singing. I believe I'm saying that. It's true. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that Dan Nelson guy, just his name. I want to have that Neil Turbin gauntlet while I clench my fist, right? Yeah, I don't like any of that shit, right? But this, I was looking so forward to it. And then I got to it and I put it on. I'm like, yeah, this is serviceable. There's nothing wrong with it, but it seemed insincere. It seemed like it didn't seem like a band to me. It seemed like Charlie, Scott, we're hanging out. They wrote some tunes, and then 15 years later, two other vocalists. See, I find Anthrax to be swingers when it comes to their vocalists as well. Like, they want it all. Anthrax would be very happy to have 3 different singers on all their albums. Right?
Well, they were very happy to have John Bush. I've seen, me and Alan were talking about this the other day. All these people praise Armored Saint. I mean, I don't hate Armored Saint, but they always seem very dry to me. I never understood why, like Metallica and Anthrax are always like, oh, Armored Saint. Alan suggested it was probably because they were super great live or something. I don't know, but that never translated well on their albums. And it seemed like Bush was kind of Scott's dream vocalist to have in Anthrax.
Fuck you, Marty. Okay. All right. Armored Saint. Are you giving them the C- treatment?
I'm giving them C. I'm giving them a C. I'm not giving them a C-. I'm giving them a C.
You ever see the video for what was it? Can You Deliver? People, that's your homework. I'm turning into Professor Steele now. It's your homework. Go out and watch that. The look on Gonzo's face when the lightning bolt hits is the greatest thing ever filmed. Right? But yeah, like I'm saying, this was it felt insincere. It felt like a Three's Company episode, because it felt like Jack Tripper's downstairs at Mr. Furley's on a date, but he's got Joey upstairs with Chrissy and them, and he's going back and forth. It's like he can't make up his mind,
right?
And he's trying to get away with it. So this is Anthrax's Three's Company album, in my opinion.
Interesting. Okay.
And the songs are okay. They're not really memorable. I bought it. I played it like maybe 4 times, and I don't think I've listened to it since. Truth be told, maybe I didn't let it grow on me. Oh, he's metal thrashing mad at me. Now that's mad. It's okay. Everyone's been mad at me my entire life, right? When it comes to Anthrax, so fucking get in line, baby.
Right. Take a number.
That's That's my, what is it? What number is this? What is this?
Number 11.
I had to write it down, man. I can't.
All right, Alan.
All right, I won't be showing records. I have some of them. I don't have all of them. It seemed weird to show half the catalog. So I'll start my bottom of the barrel with volume 8. The Threat is Real. This came out in '98. Anthrax was no longer on a major label, and it kind of shows with presentation and such. Couple of things with this album. One is that it is all over the board. Stylist. It's like they can't pick a lane. They don't know what they want to do or stick to it. And sometimes you can say, oh, the band is branching out. They're trying different things. They're being courageous. No, this is a band that just does not know which direction to go. They're barreling down some New York Turnpike, and Frank's telling them to exit here, and Scott's saying no, you got to take the expressway downtown, and John's just sitting in the back seat being quiet because he's the new guy and still afraid to speak up. The album has no direction. And it's another thing that really pissed me off with this album is that it started out okay. What is it, like the first track or two, Catharsis and such, those aren't too bad.
That's actually a decent song. I wrote that down. Catharsis is a good song.
Yeah.
I wrote it on my notes here.
Yeah. So, everyone, when this album came out, everyone, of course, as we'll talk later, the band wasn't exactly on the top of their game coming into this in most people's mind. And then you put this on, it's just like, you get through those first couple of tracks, you're like, hey, maybe we got something here. We're rolling. Okay. We got, we're going somewhere. And then you just go right off the fucking road. You end up with track, was it 3 or 4? You get like 1 minute of random thrashing and it just ends. It's like, wait, what was that? And then you get to Toast to the Extras, and it's just like, oh, goddamn, Anthrax has gone hee-haw. And it's one of those horrible moments where you sit there for days trying to figure out, was this meant to be a joke song and I just didn't get the joke? Or was it actually a very bad song? And now the band's going to try to pass it off as a joke song because everyone's pissing on them for this song. And they're going to pretend like they were just galaxy braining people the whole time. Just like, oh, you thought it was a real song. Obviously, it was meant to be a SPR, absolute, idiot, insano song. And you guys didn't get the joke. Hoo, hoo, hoo. And it's just like, fuck you, motherfuckers. It's just a bad song. And neither of those is a good choice to make. So, yeah, it's all over the board. It's, goes on forever. You get to the end and you've got, this, was it Pieces? It's like Anthrax trying to write an MTV hit like the band Live would have done in 1997. It's just there's just no sense of what the band wants to do on this album. They're thrashing around, but it's for a clue, not for tight groovy riffs that you can bang around in a circle pit to. So yeah, this one ends up at the bottom of the barrel for me. There is just, it started off with some promise and then it just guts you and goes nowhere.
Where were you in 98?
Where was I in 98? Grad school.
Yeah, and I was in university and it was a goddamn metal drought. I remember getting excited when I went to see.
And this album didn't help that.
No, it didn't help it. And I know the underground shit, people. I mean, I'm Chromie D, dude. But at the same time, in pop culture wise, I remember being such a metal drought going to see Can't Hardly Wait, believe it or not. And when they played Paradise City by Guns N' Roses, I almost popped a boner because I was like, oh, Jesus, I remember that. I know this is not Silverchair, right? I can, it was. So I'll get into this album.
Fair enough. More on volume 8 later.
And now for you, Marty.
Well, my number 11, I landed on We've Come for You All, which came out in 2003. It's the last of the Bush era, well, almost the last of the Bush era. They put out an album after that, remaking all of the a bunch of old songs with John Bush singing. It was called "The Greater of Two Evils," which we are not ranking tonight. But "We Come for You All" is Rob Caggiano's debut. Caggiano from Volbeat. Good guitar player. You know, it's them. There's like acoustic guitar on here and some on the last album as well. And it sounded like they were trying to circle the wagons back around to kind of where they left off after Persistence. Maybe the sound of White Noise. I'll give them that. The sound of White Noise to me is half good. But "We Come for You All," it just seems so tired. There's the acoustic guitar in there. Bush sounds fine. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and bag on John Bush because I like the guy as a singer. I think he's a great singer. I just don't think Anthrax was the right band. And I'm not sitting here saying I hate Armored Saint because I don't. I just don't see. You know, I think I've got all the early ones. Someone, Darcy, just sent me a more recent Armored Saint album. It's actually quite good. It's like of all the Armored Saint, I'm like, wow, this has got the most piss and vinegar on it. I don't know if they just had bad productions back in the day, but John Bush is a standout. He's a great singer. I just don't know that I like him in Anthrax. I just don't. It's not horrible. What's that?
Wasn't Paul Crook the guitarist on Stomp 442?
I don't know.
Not to be nerdy or anything.
I'm talking about "We Come for You All" though.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it seems like a band that's tired. They've weathered the 90s. They made it through it. This is 2003. They needed a change, and the change is coming, which Chromium already shown, but that comes much later in my ranking. But yeah, what's your next one? What's your number 10?
Let me refer to the charts because it may change tomorrow. Oh yeah, here we go. Because I fucking refuse to buy those record releases. Stomp 442.
Yeah, it's not a good record.
Hello, my fellow teenagers. All right. To me, again, more identity issues. This was like that high school kid that was on the 5-year plan, you know, and he was cool when he was naturally in grade 10, 11, and 12. But by the time, you know, he's in his 5th year, all the younger kids still thinks it's cool, but they don't dig mom jeans. This Spitz is gone. I don't think that being behind that giant clock with the arms turning on Persistence of Time tour did him any good because he lost his mind and went off to become one of the world's most renowned watchmakers. What is that term called? I feel it's like it has in the title. But either way, he's into watchmaking, and he's goddamn good, by the way. Have you been following his watchmaking? I've been following Spitz more than Anthrax. Just this tiny little laser printouts, these $35,000 watches. He's good, man. Anyways, Spitz is gone. Solos are just completely forbidden at this point. And Anthrax,
horology. Sorry, HOROLOG. Horology.
That's the French in me. I knew was in there somewhere. Horology. For little girls. Yeah, it's just, I think that also, speaking of Armored Saint, and I said it on one of my shows, they're like the Charlie Brown of metal, and I think that he was born under a bad sign. John Bush. Everything was going great for Anthrax. This was like, can you imagine like having the world's greatest job and then quitting it because you see it as going dead end in the future, and then you prove everybody wrong, and everyone's celebrating you, and you're like, "Fuck you! I'm good. I'm the best." And then, you know, everyone is like, "Let's throw a party." And then when you have to give your victory speech, they project a video of your wife getting fucked on film. And then they punch you in the balls and they say, carry on. You're doing good. And that's what happened to Anthrax here. They got projected their wife having sex in the boardroom. Elektra, which was their dream come true. You know, they got on there, they got their John Bush, their dreams were coming true. It was all happening, and then Elektra had a change of management. There was a massive coup, and they didn't believe in Anthrax anymore. They said, "You're not part of it anymore." But carry on, fulfill your dream of being on Elektra with your John Bush guy, and all the more power to you. And they lost everything, and that was the start of Anthrax being how Anthrax found its groove, sadly, and it was the Pantera era, which I have nothing against Dimebag, but that's when Anthrax had a rotating door of special guest star. You know what I mean? Like besides Paul Crook, which I never really respected.
Yeah. Well, they were all buds, and Dime was a big hanging out with Charlie and Scott a lot and drinking a lot. And
yes, that's when Anthrax became the hard drinkers and party animals and all this sort of thing. And I didn't buy it because I knew that they really had a bookmark in the fucking stand at home and they were wanting to reread it for the 11th time, but they had to pretend like they wanted to party hard with Dimebag and Associates and Groove when that really wasn't their scene. But again, identity problems.
Yep. Agreed there. Alan, you're number 10.
Number 10, all good points. We'll get back to that one pretty soon. But for number 10, on this particular date in history, I picked We've Come For You All at number 10. This one, the good thing with this album compared to Volume 8 is that it at least does stay in a lane. They did pick a direction and kind of stay there. They're not all over, the map the same way they were on Volume 8. They're mostly sticking. The problem is the lane they stick to is not the lane that interests me at all. They're sticking to sort of the angry guy in an angry band yelling at people angrily lane. It's
you're carpooling.
Yeah. They're riding in the back while Dimebag and Phil are sitting up front, and Phil's trying to give Dimebag directions, but Dimebag's not listening, and so Phil's having to shout, and they've missed their exit. And Scott and Frank and the guys, they're just sitting there in the back being real quiet, keeping their head down, looking at their comic books, and
pretending to be drunk.
Yeah, pretending everything's okay when they really know inside, deep down, it's not okay that mom and dad are fighting again, and we got to be cool with that, because otherwise this whole car ride's just going to melt down, and we're never going to get to Disneyland.
There's Indian suffering, guys.
So somewhere they drive past the National Forest, heading to the Hooters instead, and they see the Indian crying, and they want to stop and help, but they can't. They're not behind the wheel. They're riding on the. Yeah, they're riding bitch on that Harley now. So, yeah, and
we're supposed to be celebrating them. God damn it!
We will eventually when we get to the good albums. But I guess it's my turn to address the John Bush thing. I have always loved John Bush's voice. I think he's got a fabulous singing voice, great vocalist. I think it's been 40 years and he's still looking for the right band to front. I don't think John Bush has ever found the band he should be singing for. When it comes to Anthrax, John Bush, he's the hero Anthrax deserved, but he was never the hero that Anthrax needed. That's my most profound statement for the whole damn night.
Whoa.
The rest of it's dick and fart jokes, guys.
Dude.
Quote Joey Lawrence. Whoa.
Whoa.
Alan, I'll let you carry on here, but I'm very enthusiastic right now. He did find the band, the group, to be the voice for, and you know what he does now, right?
Actually, I don't. I've lost track of him. He's doing the Armored Saint reunion thing.
Oh no, he's doing something much bigger than Armored Saint. Because sometimes, if you still have cable and you're watching TV, you might hear a voice that sounds familiar. And you're like, God damn, I know that voice. And it's like, he is the voiceover, or was for quite a bit of time, for Burger King commercials.
No, he wasn't.
Flame broiled Whopper! Can you deliver? No, we don't deliver. You come fucking get it.
Use the app and pick it up, right off the broiler in the window.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Bush does a lot of voiceover commercial work. I've always described his voice as kind of like honey poured over flaming charcoal.
It's smoky, it's bluesy, it's deep, it's soulful. He's got a great singing voice.
But it doesn't. But it's not a wow. There's no wow factor to his voice. He's got a great singing voice, but there's no like wow. Like
I disagree. I think it's a problem with the bands he's in. I think if you put him in a band like a White Snake, maybe a Master Plan, something like that, I think you'd have 10 million teenagers with his poster, with his shirt, buttoned, at least undone all the way down to the belly button, showing off a little bit of that fur.
I've got a nice
on bedroom walls everywhere.
I've got a nice poster of him and Sandoval just like on a fur rug, and their asses are like propped up, and I'm like, I'm straight as a fucking whip, but dude, I grasped it when I looked at it.
Well, there you go. It's a start.
There you go.
But yeah, John Bush was just never the right vocalist for Anthrax. Is what it comes down to. Either for their thrashy old school style, he wasn't right for that. And when they, got in the line to copycat Pantera, he's not the right vocalist for that style either. And as such, these Bush era albums all rank pretty low for me. We'll talk about some more of them as we go, but for this particular album, while at least it has a direction to it, there's nothing memorable about it. I really don't care if I ever hear this album again. It's a pile of songs. They do music. I'm not going to give it an F or anything, but it does not interest me whatsoever. So yeah, I've got We've Come For You All down here at number 10. Okay, Marty, I got us back on the map a little bit there. So what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Stomp 442. 1995. Man, the album's a mess. I listened to it twice this week, and that was fucking generous. That was time I'll never get back. I'm sorry. I hate to be super negative on some of this stuff, but wow, it's just I really struggled with the Bush era. I really did. It just the music, they lost their character. I mean, they seemed directionless. They were going for the groove thing and the Alice in Chains thing, the acoustic guitar thing. It was Anthrax trying to be relevant in the 90s and lost and listless. I really have very little good to say about this record. I can't believe it did hit my number 11, but 10 it is. That's all I'm going to say about it. Anyway, Philip, you're back. Number 9.
My goodness gracious.
It was rough. It was rough.
You were all right. Who's in the mood for Chinese buffet? I'm always in the mood for Chinese buffet. Oof. This, you know what? I don't hate it as much as you guys.
Yeah, that album, it's got the song Catharsis, I think is good. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to reiterate it here in a second. Yeah. It's a good song.
I think I'm a piece of shit because I kind of like Toast to the Extras.
Hey, Philip, make a miracle, Philip.
Yes,
pump the lyrical right now. Go for it.
I know it's. This was an era for me where I was like, it was past metal fatigue. That era when I stopped. I was like really lost interest in a lot of heavy metal, and I was just listening to Frank Zappa all day long. Frank Zappa. That's all I gave a shit about. And then this came out, and I was like, well, I'm a sucker for Anthrax. I'm always going to support the band, right? And then I watched some of the like promo videos, and it was like that Twilight Zone take on Terror at 20,000 feet. That William Shatner one. Did you see that one? There's cool videos for this, and I really kind of liked it. And then that hidden song on the CD was actually a little treat too, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was kind of a love ballad. And then I listened to it more and more and listened to the lyrics. You know what I'm talking about? The Anthony song? There's a hidden track on this. I know some of you already know that.
I listened to it on Spotify. I don't know if they put the hidden song on there or not.
God, no. Fuck Spotify. But anyways, but it was about, when I listened to it, it's much darker. It's about Frankie Bello's brother that got stabbed.
Yeah.
Died, right? And Yeah, it's a really moving song, and I don't, like I said, it's Chinese buffet. They were doing anything and everything to stay alive. And again, John Bush, born under a bad sign. They get dropped by Elektra. Elektra was not with it anymore, and they signed to Ignition. And the week that this came out, Ignition went tits up. And it's bad luck. I don't
Yeah.
think this is as horrible as people think, considering what was going on at the time. And I think if this was a little bit earlier or maybe a little bit later, it wouldn't be hated as much. But listen, man, I stealing from a thief. I mean, it's in my top 1,000,007 records. All right. I'm not going to wear the back patch or anything like that, but the Dimebag Darrell worship on here, it's a bit much. Anthrax, you guys made Dimebag Darrell. You know what I mean? And now he's making you, and it's always bothered me. And John Bush's bowler cap also really annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah. Who the hell? Cavernous Carnage said the same thing earlier on about the fedora or boiler cap. Yeah.
The grandpa of Anthrax.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been reading some of these comments from some of you bastards, and it's I don't know what to make of it. I'm probably going to get an eating disorder, which I could afford to have for a couple of days. Marty,
Yeah, me
by
too.
the way, how's the rice? Is it coming up?
Oh, everything is hunky dory. That one shot of whiskey was good. Another one might be better. We'll see.
Behind the eight ball. I like that. This is Anthrax's lowest point. People talk about Stomp 442 being Anthrax's lowest point. Oh no, it gets much lower. When you get kicked off a Motley Crue tour, and Motley Crue were not on top of their game, by the way, at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Alan, you're number 9.
Yeah, number 9 for me.
Number 9.
4 plus 4 plus 2 almost equals 9. So
here we
close
go.
enough. We'll go with Stomp 442 here. Yeah, it's when this came out, I was smart enough not to buy this album. I could smell the Pantera, wafting past the ink fumes through the cellophane, and I was just like, no, thank you. We don't need to do this. I'm gonna save that money for cheap beer and used Savatage CDs over in the cassette bin, because we ain't touching that. And yeah, this album did not go over well with folks. I don't know if I've ever seen so many copies of a new metal album hit the used bins at the local record stores as fast as I did with Stomp 442. It's, they are miles away from where they had been at their height. They're from Big Four to just following the pack, following the times. And yes, you can certainly say, and fairly so, as you have, Philip, that it's a survival tactic. By the time this comes out, you couldn't have gotten a label to have put out a, quote unquote, true thrash metal album to save your life. Nobody was putting that out. Nobody was going to put that out. So
No.
it would have, if you're, a brand new, bunch of, 5 guys, from, straight out of school, starting out, and you just want to, self-release it or put it on some real small label, sure. But for guys who've already been on the top of the mountain, you're not, looking to go back down to the minors. So if you're going to stay in the majors, you got to learn to hit from the other side of the plate.
Suck some dick.
Or that. That works too. If you can't be a switch hitter, you can be a switch. Wait, does that work?
It works for me. Listen, Alan, look, you know what a telltale sign was, my man? Look at that logo down here.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you knew you were in for a bad time.
Everything. You don't even have to get to the logo. You just the cover art is weird. The title was weird. And everything about that album tells you it's not going to be the Anthrax you wanted it to be. The only reason I've even got it ranked this high above the other two is I will give this album one piece of praise. If in some hypothetical universe I wanted an album full of Pantera-isms, just angry, groovy music with very little soloing. That I just wanted to go out. Hey, I've just turned 18, and I've been working at the local Wendy's for a couple of years, and I've saved up a couple of thousand so I could buy a beat up '78 Camaro that me and my skeevy uncle straight out of prison have been putting back together with spare parts we stole from a junkyard. And I just want something to crank up real loud while I roll down the windows and go cruising around the high school parking lot on Saturday night, hoping that some 16-year-old girl with low self-esteem and daddy issues is looking for a good time. This album would fit that bill. So this album does have a place.
All of a sudden, Stomp 442 just rocketed to number 3. I'm like, fucking A, man. Fucking A.
I like the way you sell it, Colson.
Okay, perhaps I tried too hard there. Let's reel that back in just a tad.
If this wasn't 3/4 full, I would have crushed this on my head.
Before everybody runs out and buys Stomp 442, let me try again. Yeah, if you just want some mid-90s loud, angry groove metal to crank up kind of loud just for some brain dead fun, Stomp 442 is serviceable in that department. Beyond that, no, it has, and I don't know if you wanted that. I don't know why you wouldn't just pick a Pantera album to begin with, because they do it better than Anthrax did, of course. But you could use the album for that. You don't even get that much mileage out of the other two albums I've already named. So Stomp 442, congratulations, you did it. You clawed your way up to number 9.
Fuel is fun, though. Fuel is kind of fun.
That's what my point. There is a little bit of fun to be had here. If you're in that one narrow niche, there's a little bit of fun to be gleaned from this album for just a little while. Over the course of the album, it wears itself thin really fast. But here and there, you could extract a little bit of fun here if you wanted.
Every now and then, I got to go to my wife's home province. You know what I mean? And so Anthrax went to L.A. and they decided to do the whole suicidal tendency fucking plaid shirt, one button up, and singing like this, like "Think for yourself." And so it was their little vacation. It was a nice little Anthrax vacation album from themselves after they watched their wives projected upon themselves getting banged by a boardroom of. Now it's Japanese businessman.
Michael's got a good question here. Was Pantera always divisive with metalheads, like even back in say '92, asking older guys here? I mean, I'll start. I had Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display of Power I got from Columbia House, and I just thought it was okay. I just never really, I really preferred the German thrash stuff. I never drank the Kool-Aid with Pantera. It was a little too groovy for me, a little too tough guy. That walk song, it just too knuckle dragging for me. Super simple riffs. I mean, that's a riff you could play while wearing a set of mittens. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's God, it's
never my thing.
No, it's really not. The first time I heard of Pantera was in a Metal Edge magazine, or was it Circus? They had an ad for their kitty cat logo, the original one with the old Pantera logo, next to Sabotage. And I'd never heard of either of those bands, and I never paid much attention. When Cowboys from Hell came out, there was something about it. I was not comfortable with that sound. But I guess I learned I didn't like groove. I don't have groove.
Yeah. No, groove has its place, but when you like couple it with like a redneck fan base, sorry to anybody that's a Pantera fan. Northern Michigan, I always perceive Pantera as kind of a redneck band.
They have that element to them, yeah.
They're a redneck band. I don't give a shit saying it. I grew up with a bunch of rednecks here. I'm from Wabash, Labrador. God damn, I'm in the woods. It's a fucking redneck capital. I'm not saying I'm better than them. I'm not
either. I'm just saying I couldn't relate to it.
It's just I cannot relate to that shit. You know what I mean? But that being said, as a contrarian, I suppose when I listen to the Van Halen, the Van Halen era of Pantera, I mean that's for me, because I love a song called "Come On Eyes." Right? I dig that shit raw.
Yeah.
because I like the party, but I like the party with class. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, my recollections on Pantera are, let's see, Vulgar Display came out late high school years for me, junior, senior year of high school. Yeah, it of course, got a huge amount of hype on Headbangers Ball. Yeah, they were playing that to death. It became their themes, their opening music after a while. And at least for me and my friends, we were interested. The album came out. Most of us, picked it up, pretty soon when it came out. Played it a lot. I kind of had the same reaction that y'all did, though. The more I played it, the more I realized this just doesn't click with me. I was, I guess I was already, just set enough in, my musical styles that, yeah, this change to, groove. This just, very, angry for the sake of being angry. I'm going to pretend to be angry and thump my chest a lot because that'll prove I'm tougher than everyone else. It's just like, it always felt kind of contrived. I never, Dimebag is a great guitarist, but I don't like his style of playing. I've talked about it before. He's got that very dry kind of staccato, style. It runs very contrary to what I like. I like, my guitar heroics to flow a little bit more, not to have this real jerky structure to them. So yeah, I played it, but it became an album over time. The more I played it, the less I liked it. But did everybody really hate on the band right away? I don't remember people being in that mindset back then. I think a lot of people were like, hey, this is a new thing. It's blowing up kind of big. It's different. A lot of folks in my circles, we weren't trashing it right away. I don't think we recognized right away either what a seismic shift was happening, right before us, that how much heavy metal was going to change as a result of this album and some other albums that were coming out right there, plus or minus 12 months. And then so in a sense, we're like, okay, this is just, the big new metal band. We should give it a chance, pick it up, play it. Yeah, Mouth of War is not a bad song. I still like that one particular.
There's some okay songs here and there. I'm not going to bag all of it, man. I'm just.
Yeah. But so it just in terms of, was everybody ragging on them from, the time they got going? Not in my circles, at least.
No.
Some people latched onto it and some people didn't, but it wasn't an immediate visceral dislike from first contact. But again, my sample size is pretty small. Growing up out in the boondocks, there were like 6 of us that were paying attention to it.
I'd rather party with Pantera any day though than Anthrax. I guarantee you that, because my spirit animal is Pantera. I can guarantee. Watching those videos, remember those 30 videos from hell?
Yeah,
that's me all together. I'm especially this responsible alcoholic that I am. That's me. I like to have fun. I like to cause trouble. You know what I mean? So that's that. I also would like to address Frank's comment there. Frank,
right here, I'll put it up again.
Please put that up. If you're looking for a date to the Grad or the Sadie Hawkins dance, I'm here, baby, because I would love to pick your brain. Because I met Dan Lilker one time. I was drunk. I was in Syracuse, New York. Syracuse.
Beautiful, beautiful Syracuse. Yeah.
He's supposedly a nice guy, and he was not rude to me at all. But I was like, in Wayne's World, when the guys, Terry and them were in the back and they're all drunk. And they're like, I love you, man. I terried the fuck out around Dan Lilker. And that's not a person you do that to. But I guess he knew that I was genuinely in love with his contributions to music, whether it was Anthrax, Nuclear Assault, Brutal Truth, etc. And I was like, can you imagine me loaded out of my fucking skull, right? I'm like a goddamn koala bear with rabies. Like, get over here. And he's like, what? He's like fucking Howard Stern gangly. And I'm like,
yeah.
What? I'm like, man, can I get a hug?
Did he give you one? Did he give you one?
He gave me a hug. My buddy Craig, he's got a hilarious voice. He's like, dude, what are you doing, man? You can't do that to Dan Lilker. And I'm like, I just fucking did.
I met him once. I did the pseudo. Hey, I've listened to your music forever. I love it. Thanks so much. He's like, cool, man. You got any weed? that was my 2-second conversation with Dan Littleker.
Yeah, he crashed on Craig's couch that night. I think they were playing with Municipal Waste, right? Which was, fucking hilarious. But I once knew a girl from Syracuse. Oh yes.
Hey, everybody watching this show and in the chat, go subscribe to Yorkshire the Record Jerk. He's got a very fun channel, a lot of punk. He also shows a few metal records once in a while. Super, super cool channel. Check him out.
That dude's got a lot of fucking awesome energy too.
He does. I love it. It's so fun.
Savage. I love it. We're getting kind of back to Anthrax. People are getting pissed with us.
People are like fucking pissed. Is it my turn now?
I believe so. Let's see. I did Stomp. I did number 9 at Stomp 442.
I need to do number 9 as well.
Okay, that's where we're at then.
What is a number 9? Or is that like you can start to piss and then you shit and then vomit? I gotta do a number 9.
Number 9 for me is Volume 8. The Threat is Real. Came out in 1998. It's up as high as it is because the song Catharsis. I think it's a good song. I listened to it a couple times. I backtracked. I'm like, oh, this is a passable Anthrax song. This sounds a bit like Anthrax with John Bush singing. As the album unwinds towards the end, I just stopped caring. It just doesn't hold up. The album can't carry the listener through the whole thing. Starts out strong, ends with a whimper and a moan. So, yep, that's my number 9. I'm not going to go on. You guys have sized it up probably a lot better than I could at this point. So, Philip, you are back with your number 8. Bring the hate or the love.
I think we're kind of like on the same carpool lane. This one.
Okay.
All right.
Come for you all.
Good talk, everybody.
We come for you all. Yeah.
Okay. This is a time, 2003. I call this the Jack Black era. I call this the Dave Grohl finally stopped being fucking punk obsessed and grunge and pretending he's a big Little Richard fan and all that shit. I got a bone to pick with Nirvana, by the way. But yeah, and it's like when everyone's all about Dio worship and now Motorhead are getting their fucking, their moment in the sun. Much like the Ramones, who died of poverty. But yeah, like pop culture and Hot Topic and, Urban Outfitters are selling their t-shirts. This was a time when everyone was ready to be metal again. And Anthrax served up their old school. Strap it on, my old school. And again, Anthrax' whole career is the black jacket. Fuck you, Aaron. What a dickhead. I'm going to rip him a new I'm going to do a whole show about how fucking Aaron, a fuck you, Aaron show. With nothing but Thin Lizzy. And there's a lot of shit. He talks smack, man. You talk smack. But yeah, Don's greatest moment in his entire career, besides Come On Eyes, is his intro to Cadillac Rockbox. Yo, G Money. I love that. And listen, I like Safe Home because I'm an old softie. I thought that was great. I love Keanu Reeves in it too. In the video. Did you see that? Everyone's holding up the signs.
No.
I wanted to do that at inappropriate moments on film. It's like really bad shit going on. It's like, you are my safe home. Right? Black Dahlia, taking the music back. Again, I felt this was kind of insincere, but at the same time, Anthrax felt it was safe. They're like, it's safe to be metal again. And this was post, speaking of bad moments, this is post 9/11. Remember the white suit era? We're not going to change our names shit that they were getting on with. Do you remember that? They're wearing these white hazmat suits, and each member is wearing a "We're not changing our names" because there was a pressure.
Oh, yeah.
There was a pressure to do that, and remember they were threatening to change their name to Basket Full of Puppies. Hilarious, guys.
Hilarious.
So that's that. I tell you another thing that I didn't like that rubbed me the wrong way is from a graphic perspective. this is not the first time they did it too, but the Anthrax logo was altered. Like, why? Like, why is the X shortened and there's no going across? Why did they change that? At least they had that, not the Stomp 442 bullshit. Just like it's like Times New Roman, bold.
Yeah, yeah.
But they knew it was safe to kind of bring back the old logo. It's safe now, right? It's not the graffiti Thrax with the 8-ball jacket Elaine, right? But they brought it back, you know, and they were all happy because Alex Ross did the cover, because they kind of showed that they were comic book fans again. This is Caggiano too, and I'm not a Caggiano fan. Seems like a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. Like to hang out with him, have a nice little picnic or something, sleep over. But nah, he's no Dan Spitz. I'll tell you that.
Would he be outside or inside Spoon? And the sleepover.
I would more like to like a sewing human centipede, but I would write Frank Bello first before I get to Caggiano.
Okay. Sounds good.
I knew it was going to end up human centipede Anthrax. That's why I was ready for that.
All right. Alan, number 8.
Number 8, we are at Sound of White Noise. Yes, there's a pattern here. We're working our way through the Bush catalog, and I guess this is the best of the Bush years. The deal with this album, and now this one, when it came out, I bought it pretty soon after it came out. This is another one of those awkward 1993 albums when metal just started doing weird shit, but we weren't ready for it. So we still like, hey, it's Anthrax. We should like this. John Bush from Armored Saint. That should be good, right? We'll buy this. They're playing the videos, and we're trying real damn hard to like it, and we just weren't being honest with ourselves. This album does have some decent tracks on it. Only is fine. There's some others that are all right. It's not an album that has aged very well for me personally, at least. I rarely want to go back and listen to it, and when I do, it seems like I find less and less that I enjoy each time. With hindsight, it's just like, this is where Anthrax is really starting to do that whole Alice in Chains thing. It's 1993. Metal's not cool. Let's make our album cover look somewhat like the cover of a Pearl Jam album, only 10 times worse, and let's start playing with some different sounds and some different things and all that. And yes, there are still elements of what they had done there before. They haven't gone full on, Pantera mode on this album. There are still times that it feels a little bit like the Anthrax of old, but it's kind of like a bad version of the Anthrax of old. And it's, at the time, I and a lot of other people, we tried to like this album because we felt like we were supposed to like this album because we were dumb kids and this was an Anthrax album, so why wouldn't we like it? As an adult, you can look back at it and be like, it just really wasn't that great. John Bush, as I've already articulated, John Bush's voice doesn't work for the band, in my opinion. The songwriting is going in a different direction here, and I can't really get behind this album. So it's the best one with John Bush singing, but that still makes it worse than anything that has a different vocalist for Anthrax singing. So
get with the times, Alan. Get with the times.
We tried. That was my point. We tried to stay with the times. We were like, no. We're going to get the hip, cool, rad new Anthrax album and play it, back to back with vulgar display of power, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work.
To that I say, not. I've been planning that all day. I've been practicing, and
you did it well.
My camera angle was, I storyboarded it a little bit different, but
that's okay. It still works.
See, it would have been better if you had it in the center and had the 2 fingers up, so it had like the horns too. But
I have never done that in my life.
No.
I have never, and nor will I ever.
Rookie mistake. It's all right.
Marty, what is your number 8? And then I want to run and get something else to drink.
My number 8 is The Sound of White Noise. I've been copying off of Alan's paper apparently a little bit. It's the last album with Danny Spitz on guitar. My favorite of the John Bush era. I enjoy Potter's Field. I enjoy the song Only, even though it doesn't really sound like an Anthrax song to me. It's just a good song. It's a well-written song. It's catchy. Got a good chorus. John sings his ass off on it. I think this is a solid album, but man, it's coming after a really heavy album for me. I don't own any of the John Bush era, so I must have saw a video or something before I ran to the store and bought this one. So I had a little pre-warning that it may not be exactly what I wanted. I don't know. It's just them starting to change a little bit. I think the second half of their career at this point, they wanted a little bit of a change. Out went Joey, in came John, dream vocalist for them. And it was mixed reviews for me. I don't know. I thought it was an okay album. Way better than Volume 8. Way better than Stomp. Stomp is just such a train wreck. Yeah, man. Number 8 for me is Sound of White Noise. I'm crossing it off the list. We're going down to number 7. Philip.
All right. Marty, you're going to be pretty angry with me.
Oh, boy. Yep.
This is an obnoxious album if you're trying to show it like in a show, too. It's got a lot of glare, a lot of gleam. Glare. But you can see yourself on there.
Bet you the record label was psyched to have to put that. My CD copy's got that annoying little thing on it as well.
Alex Ross is back, baby.
Yeah.
I think that this may be Anthrax playing it the safest they ever have in their career. Because if they fuck this up, they are probably going to be working with John at Burger King. Not doing the voiceovers, but taking orders. Yeah, no. Like I think it's great. It's a great album. Whereas Worship Music sounded like it wasn't written for Joey. It could have been anybody. It could have had Joan Rivers fucking singing that album. This one sounds like part of Anthrax's discography. It sounds like a continuation of Persistence. It sounds like nothing ever happened. It's like it retconned their career. You know what I mean? It's like, this is, but it's Persistence, but kind of like, you know that meme where the guy's looking back at the other chick?
Yeah.
A little bit nostalgic for the manic energy of Persistence of Time when they were young and when they smiled a little bit. You know what I mean? But yeah, very bright production. The torch for fucking old school thrash is there. It could have been thrashier. It could have a lot more thrashier. But yeah, I thought it was a fun album, and I thought it was a true Joey Belladonna record. And I was happy with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's still pretty modern sounding. Did I ever tell you, by the way, or any of you out there, about it's over there somewhere? I got to find it. My interview with Joey Belladonna in 2000, maybe 2000.
No. Did it make the magazine?
No. This was before I was doing a web show called Cockfight.
Hello, Joey Belladonna. Welcome to Cockfight. Cockfight.
Yeah, it was like interviewing hockey player goons, and it's so Canadian, right? It's like, I'm into metal and hockey. So I was interviewing hockey players and metal guys, and Joey Belladonna was such a gentleman, right? And if I release this on my show, it's going to break the goddamn internet. I promise you. Right? Because back then you had to record with something called the B, like maybe you remember it, right? You had the B recorded your phone onto your computer. I got it from Radio Shack.
Yeah, it's like I used to have the earphone that sucked to the back of the phone, like a microphone, the suction, and then I got one where it like lined into the phone. You plugged it into the back of the receiver, and then it was a Radio Shack invention.
It was a goddamn nightmare. But anyways, My aunt is visiting me, or my aunt, depending where you're from, and and she keeps picking up the phone while I'm talking to Joey Belladonna. She goes, "Philip," and she's got a Newfoundland accent. She's like, "Philip, I need to use phone." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a little bit busy right now." She goes, "No, seriously, I got to get home." Joey's on the line, and I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I'll be off in a minute." And I'm trying to ask about Joey. It's like, "How did you feel when you got boosted from Anthrax?" And she goes, "Are you still on the phone, boy?" And I'm like, "Oh." And Joey was such a professional and a gentleman. He was so nice. And you could hear him laughing because he knew that this interview was an absolute disaster. And if I post that, the internet is done. Finished.
Do it.
Yeah.
All right. So that was your number 7, correct? Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're again, like, just to add on to a little bit more, because I feel that I didn't give this album enough recognition. John Donay is fantastic. I really like him. He's never going to be my Spitz. He's never gonna be, right? But he is good. I really enjoy it. I didn't like Avenged Sevenfold. Is that was the band he was from?
Shadows Fall.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Same thing. Right. I don't fucking like that shit, but he seems like a solid dude. And in fact, he and I got into an online, we were texting one another personally. I was drunk one night. You know how I call you in the middle of the night? Notice how you, hey, Alan, do you text drunk with Marty like I do?
Actually, I do not.
Yeah, exactly. I do. I see a new Heavy Metallurgy coming.
He's the responsible one of this duo.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I feel like a cheap whore on this show right now, you guys. But yeah, I got on with John Donay, and I was drunk, and I'm like, hey man, you should come on. I was giving him shit, like I was heckling his ass. I was like, you'll never
come on, cockfight.
I write a blog called Cockfight.
Cockfight.
I think that you'd be perfect for it, even though you're not Dan Spitz, John Donay, right? Don ass. And he was fucking rude to me, man. He was a fucking proper bastard. But how I handled myself back and forth, I was just laughing. And I was like, John Donay, in 3 months, you're going to be on my show. And he's like, all right. Because he knew he was partying at that time. Because he's a drinker, and that's what I like about him. I love a good drinker, and I like a party animal. He fits Anthrax quite well. He makes them better.
Yeah, he does. I agree.
He's not he is kind of a hired gun, and nothing against Paul Crook or Caggiano, Basil Supreme. No, it's just I don't know. I like this guy. I like his vibe.
Right on. Okay, Alan, you're number
7.
Hold on 1 sec. I got to take a whiz, but hold on. I want to see what your number 7 is. I got to take a number 7 myself.
Number 7 for me is worship music. So with this one, there's 2 sides to this. One side is the, hey, this is a pretty good thrash album. The other side of it is exactly what Philip articulated earlier. This is like, all of a sudden, Belladonna's back, and lo and behold, after 20 years of writing a lot of pretty bad albums, all of a sudden we remember how to play thrash again. We're still cool, right? You guys still love us, right? And the metal community opens them back with open arms. And it all feels a little bit icky in a way. The contrarian me is just like, really? We're just going to forget Volume 8 and all this other Stomp. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen and claim Big Four's back, man. Thrash on. And we're just going to pretend that other shit didn't happen. Okay. I'm always amazed at people's propensity to just forget, years and years and years of bad stuff as soon as somebody shows, a little bit of reticence.
I did.
A little bit of that comeback era.
I forgot it.
But again, it is a fairly good album. The songs are not bad for the most part. I think the album runs out of steam about 3 tracks from the end. The last few tracks I do not care for. All of a sudden, those tracks really do feel like, were these leftovers? Were these some B-sides that you guys had written for, John Bush 6, vulgar display of white noise or something, and just never got around to making? So the album...
I'm writing that down. I like that.
Thank you. You're welcome to use it as much as you'd like.
Vulgar display of Volume 6.
But, it's not bad. as a thrash album, it achieved its purpose. It puts the band back on the map. Joey's back. It is interesting because while Joey's back and he sounds pretty good on the album, he definitely sounds like a grown up. I feel he's like Joe Belladonna now. We shouldn't call him Joey.
Joseph. He's Joseph.
Joseph Belladonna is behind the microphone this evening.
Joseph Ambrose.
We have to be out of this place by 10:30 so we can set up the tables for bingo tomorrow. So everybody behave and please, throw your disposable plastic cups in the proper receptacle on your way out of the venue. Thank you. I'm of two minds on this album. Am I glad they put out a decent metal sounding album for the first time in ages? Yes. But at this point, was it real easy for them to do this? Yeah. It's low hanging fruit to go back, get the original singer that everybody wanted back. Sorry, not the original, but the man. Joseph is the man. I'm the man. He is. You plug him back in the band. You go back. You replay State of Euphoria a few times. Kind of okay, yeah, getting the timing back down. Let Scott solo for the first time since the fucking Clinton era. And okay, yeah, you're not going to miss that target. It's a big fucking target. If you're playing Pokemon Go, it's like the circle on the Snorlax. You can't help but put that motherfucker in the ball. He may not stay there very long, but you're getting that Pokemon in that ball. That may not have made sense to a lot of folks, but it does to me.
It does to me too.
I want to know what that means. That's the difference between me and the other audience. I want to know.
You have the curiosity of a child, and God bless you for it.
Thank you. It's a label slap album. When I was in advertising, it's kind of like, what label slapping is? For those of you that don't know, you've got a 1 minute, it's a red $6 million man walkie-talkie. Let's paint it black and put Star Wars on it and sell it. And that's what it is. It's a label slap album.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't mind it, but I do. Again, the contrarian in me is a little bothered by it. I'll put it this way. 2 days ago, poking through one of the local record stores, hadn't been by in several weeks, seeing what they had in, used copy of Worship Music. I'm thinking, hey, that's not a half bad album. I don't have that one. Should I pick it up? It's $7. I was like, nah, I don't think I'll actually play it that much. So I left it on the shelf, and I'm comfortable with that decision. It's okay, but I'd rather have $7 than a CD copy of Worship Music on my shelf. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. So, Marty, time for your number 7. What you got next?
Oh, boy. Philip is going to be flipping fucking tables on this one.
My nostrils are flared right now.
You should be flared because we're going with...
wait, Marty, give the man a chance to loosen up here. You didn't give him a chance, man. You should have given him a chance.
I'm the guy that wears the band shirt at the concert, right?
That's fine. I do too.
I've been waiting for you to say that all night.
State of Euphoria is my number 7. When it came out, it was fun. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the stuff that came before it. I didn't like it as much as the album that came after it. This is Anthrax Super Silly. You got there you go. You got the shorts. You got the whatever. I don't know.
More Drucker. Show some goddamn respect.
Yep. I like Be All End All. It's a good song.
Whoa.
Not.
Old school, baby. Old school.
Antisocial, I could have lived without.
Only because you heard it 6,000 times.
6 million times. Make Me Laugh, okay. Who Cares Wins is a good song. It's okay. It's an okay record. It's them sounding a bit tired. It's on Megaforce and Island. They've been touring their asses off. They've been riding the wave that Among the Living set them on. Is it as good as Among the Living? It isn't. It's man, this album cover is just so terrible. I know, Philip, you're wearing the shirt and I feel bad. I feel like I'm calling you out to your face right now, but I
feel like the Indian on the side of the road when they threw garbage.
Yes. This is just here we go. Someone's agreeing with me. Yay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to unplug your...
No, Baloney was just saying that they've apparently often said the album was only about half written when they went in to record it. So
you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell. Yeah, I mean, this is my number 9. It's fun. It's okay. I listen to it from time to time, enjoy it, but I'm not compelled to. It's maybe a once a year spin for me.
Ryan, that ball can also come with a really bad font on top of it and have too many Pantera riffs, but that happened years later, so we
Yes,
won't
it
go
did.
there.
Philip, what is your number?
I don't think I want to be
7.
part of this show anymore.
I'm surprised you stayed as long as you have.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hold on now. Okay.
We've had Aaron like hanging out backstage for the past hour and 45 minutes just in case you did rage quit at some point.
He's memorized all the lines.
He fits your costumes magnificently too. Spot on. Wardrobe was so happy.
Yeah. They fooled me on this one when the reissues came out. I bought this, and boy, talk about bottom of the barrel, bare bones releases. It's
some other folks in the chat have commented those reissues are really bad.
Oh wow! It might as well, like, when I opened it and looked at it, when I finally took the record out, I was expecting it to be just a placemat.
Mm.
This is outrageous. How do I feel about this record? Well, confessions. When Joey got fired from Anthrax, I remember where I was because it was my Challenger explosion. It was my Kennedy assassination.
Uh-huh.
That's when you're privileged. You can say that. I remember being on top of a snowbank waiting for the bus, and my buddy Jamie Squires, my heavy metal Sherpa, he's like, "Hey man, did you hear on Power 30 that Joey got fired from Anthrax?" I'm like, "The heck you say?" And I just watched Married with Children. They're on top of their game, right? Like Attack of the Killer Bees is the greatest thing we've ever listened to in our lives. It's our Beatles White Album. Right? And he told me, and there was no internet, and then I'm like running around, and I'm at school, and it is confirmed that Joey has been fired. I cried. Now, I'm a big boy at this point. You know what I mean? I'm not 7 years old. But I cried so hard that Joey was no longer part of Anthrax that my mother let me come home from school. I'm not shitting you. I am not shitting you. And she made me grilled cheese sandwiches, and they rented me a movie, and my dad brought me home comics, and it was a real grief process. It was a grieving process. Yeah, so to me, this is a divorce album, and my parents are together to this day, thank God. But to me, this is like someone sitting down after all these years and saying, "Hey, it's not working with your father and I anymore." And you're like, "What?" And you don't see two Christmases because you're not at that point in the breakup yet. Everything about this. But I went out. I was an open-minded kid back then. I remember being like the second guy in a lineup of 2 to get this at A&A Records. And I was not pleased again with the Anthrax alteration of the logo. I didn't think that was appropriate. I didn't like the Pearl Jam-ish cover. Good call. It was jarring, to say the least. But again, Kroby's mom should get an award. She hand-washed all these shirts. This is an 88 original, baby. So, I mean, like, I listened to it. It was jarring to listen to at first. And the term Panthrax and Chains, or whatever you call it,
Armored in Chains, Terrathrax. Right. I wrote it down.
That didn't come to me, but again, they were nerds again to a certain degree because again they were into Twin Peaks and Black Lodge and all that sort of shit. They showed signs of themselves, right, on this, and I thought there was actually some pretty good. Sodium Pentothal was a great song. Package Rebellion hasn't aged well. Potter's Field, it's the divorce album, and I made the best. I didn't think it was going to be long, but they did break up 2 families. It's kind of like when the babysitter has an affair with the dad, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm losing Armored Saint and my mom, Anthrax. That's the best I can say. That's my review, Marty and Alan.
Very nice, very nice.
Tonight on a very special Heavy Metallurgy.
With voiceover by John Bush.
Now for a commercial break. Hey, Burger King, get the Whopper for 99 cents.
The flame-broiled Heavy Metallurgy tonight, man.
Burger King, it's a fucking madhouse.
Or so they say. Anyway. Alan, you're up.
All
You're
right.
number 7.
Number
Six.
You were going peeing for a long time. We're up to number 6.
Oh, it was a wonderful pee too. It
He's
felt
got
so
prostate
good.
issues.
I'm old, man. It happens.
The Dreadful Minutes, that's a good point, too. The picture of them in the diner says a lot. You ever notice, too, like there's that? Remember the Seinfeld thing? No matter where you touch your face, it expresses your level of stress. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I should have quit this job. They're going to project a gangbang from the boardroom on my wife. Circular. See how I work? Circular logic.
Circular, yeah.
Oh,
right.
sorry. Drew, number 6 for me. Just checking one.
Are we only at number 6? I feel like
Yeah. We're covering a lot of ground here, Chromie.
We're taking our time. We're processing
our
things.
time.
this is longer than For All Kings, man.
Which is appropriate because that's my number 6. For all Kings.
Shit!
Thank you for segue man, right there. And this one was kind of a little bit of a hard one to place. Yeah, as you said before, Philip, this is a strong following. With worship music, they're kind of like, okay, yeah, they're kind of back. I guess that's okay. Skeptical still for some reason, but with this, I was like, no, okay. Here's a really good, solid Joseph Belladonna Anthrax album, and I can get behind that. That said, it's not one I've played very much to date. So this is the one that's probably got the most potential to move around if we, re-rank Anthrax albums some days. I could easily see this moving up a spot or two. I could also see it moving down. Well, I don't know if it can move down much. I think we're finally kind of getting above ground here. So moving down, maybe not. It could move up with time, but it just hasn't had time for me to climb the ranks. But yeah, this one is much closer to sounding like the good old days without being completely derivative. It's not, State of Euphoria 2, more nitrous oxide, please. It's still got its own thing going on. It sounds like a modern album, but it is kind of what you want to hear Anthrax doing. So yeah, this one I can give a solid thumbs up. So we've turned a corner here in the discography, and I'll have happier, nicer things to say for the most part moving forward. So yeah, it's I think fitting right now that this album is right smack in the middle of the rankings for me because it's the newest one. And it's off to a good start, but time will tell where it whether it continues to get a lot of plays or whether it just gathers dust. So, Marty, what have you got right in the middle of your Anthrax rankings at number 6?
Well, Joseph is back in the band, and I drank the Kool-Aid, man. Worship music. I bought this, not hearing much other than that Joey was back. This album kind of blew me away, and you guys have been kind of like ho-hum about this shit, and it sounds like Anthrax again. It isn't just because of the voice; it's the music. Yeah, they're like, oh, we gotta right the ship here. We gotta fix. We gotta erase 4 albums, 13 years of John Bush. We're gonna sell the Joey thing, but the thing of it is, the songs are really well written. They're really catchy. And Joey sings his fucking ass off on this. There's some really great harmonies on here and melodies that he carries. You can tell he's not as high up in pitch as he was when he first joined Anthrax on Spreading the Disease, but his voice is a lot more mature. He nails it on here. And there's some great fucking, I've listened to, I'm kind of sick of Fight 'Em Till You Can't and The Devil You Know. Those are my 2 least favorite songs on the album. But in the end, what a great fucking song. There's just so many, this by the middle to the end of this album, it's just a lot of deep cuts. It's really a good record. I really end up enjoying this album a lot. So yeah, that's my number 6, Worship Music. I'm glad Joey came back in the band. Scott ate a lot of crow because he had to eat crow to get him back in, and he did what was right, man. I think great album. I'm glad he's back.
You'd sing your ass off too if you were in the North Korean army and you had to be a soldier of metal for Anthrax.
Okay.
Because if you don't follow those rules, because Joey was like, well, "Am I gone or am I in or what?" He doesn't know because again, he was the third choice. Yeah. They treat Joey like they treat Joey worse than they treat guitarists, and it's always been something that's really bothered me.
It is lame. And it's funny too, because you see, well, Joey, or I think it was Joey that I read an interview with Joey. The guys in Anthrax were from New York. Joey was more upstate. So he wasn't like clicking with them on a certain level.
Rochester, baby.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad. I mean, he might not be a big metal. Someone also said that when he entered Anthrax, he wasn't really a metal guy. He was more of an AOR guy. And he just kind of fell into so there's probably some cultural differences between these guys. And, he might be a little weird, a little eccentric. It doesn't fit in, but you spend so many years and so many miles with a guy in a band, you got to kind of open up to him a little bit, I would think. And especially when you owe him a lot. I mean, his voice kind of became the face of Anthrax. It just did. Neil Turbin set him on a great path. I love the debut, but Joey is the face of Anthrax, and having him back in the band is what happened.
Hold on a second, guys. Come here. Get over here. My wife looks like Dan Spitz. Are you guys ready for this? This is how much of an Anthrax fan I am. Hey, yo, Charlie. Wait,
how's it going?
You got to get your bangs more. Hey, yo, Danny.
Did you ask them the shoes question?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. I hate to digress here, but Rachel is such a Canadian, hey? She was like, can you ask them tonight, do Americans wear shoes in their house? And I'm like, that's a sitcom thing. They're on a fucking set. Oh, shit. Alan?
A lot of it depends on it really depends on if you have carpet inside or not. If you have carpet, a lot of
carpet Americans or not, baby. I got shoes that never let them see your feet.
A lot of Americans, if you have carpet inside, they are militant about making you take the shoes off when you walk into their house. If you don't have carpet, you clomp around in whatever boots, heels, steel-toed clogs, anything you feel like, as long as you want.
I thought it only happened on Family Matters and Full House. This is.
Right. I gotta go listen to some Maiden.
Get up over the stairs, woman!
Where were we? Where did we leave off? Oh,
I'm sorry. My wife wanted to talk about sitcom shoes.
Awesome.
I hope we shed some light on the issue.
I didn't recognize her without the Texas Mike costume on.
Where are we going next, everybody?
All right, Alan. Oh, wait. Oh, that was me. It's Phillips, number 5.
You guys don't have to call me Philip. My mother is not around.
Well, I don't want to piss off your Philip. Your Philip, your mother. I don't want to piss off your Philip.
She could watch this one day, and so we're not taking chances. You're Philip, goddammit.
That Martin and Alan, I don't know about them.
I don't like the kinds of friends you're hanging out with these days, Philip.
85 people. Business? Hey, 85 people in the chat. Cheers to all you folks. Thanks for hanging with us.
One of them wears shoes inside the house, and the other gave an answer that was much too convoluted.
And my wife looks like Dan Spitz.
Everybody, go subscribe to Chromium Dioxide Radio. Let's get Phil over 2,000 mark tonight. It's been long overdue. We need to get.
Even if you don't like me, just do it because my children are starving, and I'm down to 1 Keurig coffee cup. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to need at least 2.
So yes, go subscribe. Link in the description. Please do. And also, Let's Talk Metal description in the link in the description. Go down there as well. Anyway,
Alan, I'm a big fan of your ASMR channel, to be honest with you.
Thank you very much.
We're
I'm just going to sit here and eat strawberries for the rest of the night.
We're going to talk about the new boll weevil single.
I want to like very carefully open the Japanese plastic sleeve so you can listen to the sticky stuff slowly peel away from the back.
The glue from the Handsome Beasts record.
We'll slide that out. Oh, we don't listen to those here, Philip. Those covers are a tad too tacky even for us.
Oh, shit.
See, Wilson Tam brings up a good comment here. Bare feet on clean carpet equal feels good, man. See, I wear shoes. I'd rather have the outside dirt of the driveway on my carpet than dead skin and toe jam ground, because people always drag their bare feet to itch their feet on the carpet. It just seems like wearing shoes it's like slipper, inside outside slippers. It's
where the fuck do you live, Marty? Hyperborea? What the fuck is going on up there with like
nothing?
Upper Peninsula and feet.
Is that where Dr. Doom rules?
No, I'm just not a foot. I don't show my feet. And the only time the shoes come off when I go to bed. It's the way it goes.
Well, Marty, when you come to visit, I'm going to give you the foot rub of your life.
Oh, I am I'm booking a flight tomorrow.
I've got points, baby. I've got COVID points. Fuck's sakes. All right.
Anyway.
No. Anyway, let me say it. Fucking anyway.
Anyway.
I didn't know Mom and Dad weren't happy. They were always so like happy and having all sorts of parties. Yes, Mom did her own thing on Wednesdays, and so did Dad. I didn't know that they were swinging on the side. I must have been so naive. Hey, definition. Hello, Eric.
Eric.
This album, everybody like fucking adores this record.
Love it.
Yeah, I know. And so is Charlie and the rest of the gang. I found it a bit depressing at the time.
It's a dark record.
It's a dark record, and yeah, Anthrax finally got pissed. Their studio burnt down. The after effects of Cliff dying and their shows being fucked up and all that stuff. Again, that Bad Luck Band. The cover is ridiculous. This is you talk about State of Euphoria being a ridiculous cover. This is a ridiculous cover. And that stage, fuck you, man. I would take the Ronald McDonald stage any day over that stupid clock going around, which again influenced Spitz to fuck off. Yeah, there you go. I know like a lot of you have no idea how many years it took me to get hatred down. I used to call it H8 red. Was it H8 red?
It's on the cassette J card. That's very much what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, which I had the tape. And funny enough, guys, not to turn, but I just want to show you because I gave you all sorts of like I have so many visual aids here tonight that you're not even ready for. I have all the tapes. I have all the records. Oh, piss and vinegar. I have all the CDs. They're all down here. Oh,
there goes the jewel case or J card case.
There
whatever.
goes the J card. Yeah. So I mean, I've been with Anthrax for a long time. One of those bands where I bought multiple copies of various formats. I liked it. One man stands, the whole thing. It's kind of like Indians. It's very like socially aware and stuff. I didn't like the all black. I didn't like Danny losing the graphic guitar. Remember, you used to have the Human Torch and Sergeant Rock, and we had the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
and it castrated the band, and I felt that they finally. This was the first moment where Anthrax finally got to high school, and they wanted to be on part of the basketball team. You know what I mean? They wanted to start hanging out with the older kids, and they stopped reading comics and shit like that. It was the serious album. I will say though, I used to have remember when bands released jogging pants? I don't know if you remember that. Do you guys remember the jogging pants era?
Yeah.
I had Anthrax jogging pants, and across my ass, just like Juicy, it said pot. I had the nuns too in grade 10, and the nuns were like, you can't wear that to school anymore. I'm like, why? It says pot on your bottom. I was like, no, Sister Doyle, man, it's persistence of time. She's like, I don't care what it is. You're not wearing it to school anymore.
Okay.
But it had pot across my ass, just like Juicy. But yeah, like they took themselves really serious here, and which was weird because you're on Married with Children and you release Attack of the Killer Bees. It is a weird vibe. But again, I had no idea Mom and Dad weren't happy.
They weren't. They were not happy.
Apparently, Joey was drinking too much, which for Anthrax before they met Dimebag was probably had a couple of white
controversial.
Wine. Yeah, he had 3 white wine spritzers. You know what I mean? And refused to read the new Concrete comic, or Hellboy. But...
All right, Alan, number 5.
Number 5 for me. I was a little surprised this one got this high. This is one that, again, For All Kings may end up higher than this one. I would not be surprised about that. Number 5 for me is State of Euphoria. This album, I look at the track list and I'm just like, these seem like they're good songs, but then I replay the album and I'm like, there's always something missing about this album. It was a popular one with friends back in school, and I never could really get into it. Part of it is the very cartoony approach of it. I'm okay with having some fun, and thrash is a genre where you should do that from time to time. This one felt like they just leaned into it a little too heavy. The other issue I've always got with this one is these songs, someone had mentioned in the chat earlier that the band really only had it like half done when they went in. It really does feel like it. A lot of these songs are very simple. They're extremely repetitive. The beat is just very, clang, 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 clang. There's not a lot of variety or stuff going on. They're very straightforward, no frills songs. Individually, they're not bad. Again, I look at the track list and I'm like, unlike Marty, I like the cover of Antisocial, even though, yes, it's been played 1,000 times.
Yeah, I'm just burnt out on it.
I still like it. It's
like the good. Back in black of that album.
They do a good job with it.
That's true. That's true, Marty.
Yeah, it's fair. I get why some folks, have had their fill of it, but it's a good track on there. Be all end all. It's just like, no, the chorus gets so repetitive. Out of sight, out of mind. It's the same problem. Make Me Laugh. I always think I like that song, and then I play it, and it's just like, it's following the same monotonous beat. The production on the album didn't really do anything for me. It's not helping matters. It's not horrible, but it's not bringing the songs to life. The Schism's not bad. Now It's Dark should be better. Misery. Somehow this album manages to be less than the sum of its parts. And that's the best summary I can give for State of Euphoria. It just doesn't quite come together as a whole. So yeah, I was really surprised it was in the top 5 here. The reason I've got it above For All Kings at this point is, like I said, For All Kings just hasn't had enough time to climb higher in the rankings, and we'll see what happens in the future. So it's an album that is a lot of people's, it's a kind of, a fan favorite. A lot of folks dig it, and that's absolutely cool, but it is not the Anthrax album for me. There's a funny pattern to these early Anthrax albums that I'll get into later. And this one fits a certain pattern with this band for me very, very closely. So that is my number 5. Marty, tell me your number 5, please. And then I want to run and grab something and be right back.
My diarrhea is acting up again.
I'm going with For All Kings. Again, I drank the Kool-Aid on this stuff, and I find the songwriting to be refreshed. There's a good walk between old Anthrax here and a more newer, a little more commercial.
Hey, listen to me. Hold on. Before he comes back, show me your tits. Come on.
No, I haven't shaved. I'm not. I don't have my beach body.
I got a bucket full of nair. Let's get crazy.
You're gonna need two.
Hi, Marty. How are you? Oh, Alan, excuse me. How are you?
But this album is
I'm
great.
good. Don't mind me. I'm just going to eat very, very close to the microphone for a while.
Okay,
Great.
the mark continues. I'm sorry about interrupting. Please continue.
That's okay.
with your-
I really love this album. Joey, him coming back, he sounds revitalized. He's really nailing it. The feel on some of these songs, they're kind of swinging to the home run seats with him back in the band. They're writing, I don't know, there's a little more space in the music, so he can kind of go off with these really great melodies. And even though his voice is obviously aged a little bit, it still sounds really fresh. And I can't get this fucking stupid case back on the. I hate those stupid things. They're so dumb. Anyway,
If the logo's not on it, that's why you have to keep it.
yeah, I know.
What do you think this is? Stomp 442? You son of a bitch.
But this would have ranked a lot higher if it wasn't for the nostalgia I have for the other albums coming up. Because I've listened to this a lot, and even my kid got into this album a little bit too. He was singing along, asking to hear it. Hey, my age, I'll take what I can get, Tim. That's the way it goes.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be.
Can I interest you in a piece of fruit?
You just keep eating your fruit roll-ups, man, and I'm dying to hear about Raven's third album.
So yeah, my number 5, For All Kings. It's a great record, and I would encourage Philip to go back and revisit. I know you has had some good things to say about it, but you also had some very disparaging things to say about it too. I don't know. I think you should actually Sound of White Noise ranked higher than For All Kings in your catalog there, didn't it?
Number 6, baby.
Hmm.
We have different opinions, and I can't tolerate that in this day and age.
I only have 3 things to say to Philip. Crash.
So no hairy man boobs for you. Okay, Alan.
Bang.
Bye. Ta-da.
Wallop.
Bring the noise.
That's my Fat Boys New York rap.
Finally, just got it back in the. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Never re-sleeve on camera. Anyway, Alan,
Is that a thing? Really? You're not supposed to re-sleeve on camera?
I've wasted so much time in my life watching people trying to get a record back into a fucking sleeve, like, and they're like, they don't stop until they get it.
Don't read J card. I feel the cassette people have to get away with murder.
VCLT videos are like porn videos. You never show the part where they're trying to get it in. You just cut that out and you come back on once it's already inserted.
Do you think there's any fetish market for like re-sleeving videos? It's like,
hey, if there's a market for armpit sex, there is a market for watching men try to cram a 12-inch vinyl into a tight plastic sleeve. Yes, it's out there. It's probably in Japan,
Right?
And isn't it Philip's turn for number 4? He's our leadoff hitter.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I just wanted to see your face. Okay, you're back, Philip.
Let me refer to the charts because it'll change tomorrow.
I might have, Scott. I don't remember, but it's a thing.
Oh, my records are falling down. This is a disaster. I don't even know. Okay, here we go. Excuse me, guys, for a second. The CD is fucking over there, but it's McDonald's time. I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
This, you have to be probably 11, 12 years old to really embrace this. I get it. And for self-promotion, myself, Eric, Mikey Bananas, and that Aaron guy from Metal Theologian.
Yep.
We're releasing an arcade show. I think probably arcade. Fuck you. Yes, I'm an East Coast Canadian, assholes. We're releasing a love letter to the arcade on, I think, probably Tuesday night. So stay tuned to that.
Cool.
This is an arcade album for me. Because this was the back patch to end all back patches. Even though on my battle vest was Among the Living, autographed by Joey Belladonna. And Joey, I saw in Toronto when he was opening for Goathorn, which predated Cauldron.
Yep.
His drummer got into some sort of legal entanglements, and there wasn't a lot of people at the cathedral, and I shit you not, he could have canceled. And Joey, being a class act professional before he rejoined Anthrax on that worship music thing, he sang and played drums his entire set in front of 6 of us. That'll tell you who Joey Belladonna is.
Wow, that's awesome.
6 of us.
Wow.
That is not any, like, there's nothing disparaging about that statement or me making fun of him, because if it were me, I'd be like, guys, I'm sorry things didn't work out. Joey is a better man than me.
He just likes what he does. He likes to play music.
And he played drums, and he played them quite well. There was no Joey fucked up, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that because, and you know what I mean? And he gave it his all, and he was like, he sounded really good. You know, I mean, he was pulling the whole Exciter thing. He was doing his best. Getting back to this, I digress. This is, it is a schizophrenic album. But I love it. It's Anthrax at like it's kind of like they tried to they had a formula on Among the Living, and they wanted to continue it. It's like, oh, we like Stephen King books and stuff like that. And we're going to keep that up. And we like David Lynch movies, with Now It's Dark. So we'll keep up that pop culture, reference with the more trucker art, etc. And it is rushed. I mean, any interview or any documentary you've watched about Anthrax, they say the same thing. It does sound hollow. It does. There's something not right about this album. And it feels kind of like
it's too clean. It's too clean.
Yeah, but it sounds phoned in, man. To say it was like, well, it's not finished. It didn't sound finished. And I mean, that's the de facto answer that we come up with. But there is something else going on here. I don't know what it is. But the band did become Looney Tunes at that point. And this is, I disagree. Oh, there he is. We're disagreeing. I don't think this is Anthrax at their most Anthraxiest. I think, but anyways, I don't have a problem with this cover. I think it's fantastic. And especially, I love the picture disc, which I have. When you put it on and it spins around. I remember getting my old camera, the big JVC, and pointing it down at the turntable and just watching it spin around. And funny enough, I don't know if anyone realizes this. This character right here, before like they were trying to get away from the Not Man image and stuff like that. Do you know this character is the 3rd character in a progression from their first 3 albums? It's from Spreading. That's the character that's on the table. That's getting.
Actually, the guy on the table looks like Michael Bolton.
Well, they all look kind of like. No, this was actually it was supposed to be him.
Tell me that's not Michael Bolton.
That's how can we be lovers if we can't be
friends?
Frowns. And the Fistful of Metal guy. So. It was supposed to be a continuation, but it didn't carry over quite properly, and the artist didn't get it. Wouldn't it have been better if it was like Scott and Frankie and Spitz, all of them going around?
I always thought on the little J card at first, I thought that's what it was supposed to be. On closer
that's what I thought too. I thought it was the band.
Yeah.
No, but it was actually their supposed unrecognized mascot. But again, speaking from a graphic perspective, I think the yellow on red is cool. It's Hulk Hogan.
I don't like it.
Oh, I love it. You don't like Hulk Hogan, do you? Don't tell me you're an Ultimate Warrior, asshole. Fuck that. I'll also say that of all the metal logos of all time, Kent Jospy's Anthrax logo is, to me, the ultimate heavy metal logo of all time.
It's pretty solid.
That is solid. And why? Why would you? I feel like I'm playing Top Gun in the arcade. It's like left is right. Why would you shorten the R and shorten the X? Life is too short, people.
It seems like an insignificant change when it doesn't matter. You should have left it the way it was. I hate bands when they fucking mess with their logo. Live and die by your logo.
I tell you, speaking of that, I won a contest during this time with Much Music in Canada when this first came out, and here it is. It's the license plate.
Holy shit.
I call them every fucking day. And this was third place. The first place was Anthrax would come to your house and they would demolish your place, which I'm sure Jane, my mom, would have loved that. When you weren't allowed to sit in the living room, it was like an Italian mom's living room. Everything was covered in plastic and shit, right? It was like, right. But anyways, yeah, this was. I actually went back on eBay and bought 3 more, and one's on our vehicle.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Very cool.
Look, and they also had the greatest backstage pass there too. I mean, spare no expense. Like graphic wise, Jesus Christ, man, look at that. They fucking amazing. Make you cry. It'd make you cry. But don't. I mean, let's have a good time.
I'm not feeling the cry right now.
I thought they were trying to make you, I thought they were making me laugh.
Tell me your killing joke.
That's it. Bring the noise, Crummy D.
Okay, number 4 for you, Alan.
All right, number 4 for me is going to be Spreading the Disease. This album, it's now considered one of the classic Anthrax albums. I do have some issues with this album. Now, Joey sounds great on it.
With Spreading? Are you serious?
I think he sounds good here. I do. I like Neil a lot. We'll get to that in a little bit, but no, I think Joey's putting a lot of life into it, a lot of energy. I think he sounds okay. There are songs I like. This album takes a while to get going for me, though. It's a little slow out of the gate on side A. It's a little transitional. Still sounds a little bit like the debut, but they're definitely getting their thrash chops on more and more. But yeah, it's the first few tracks on side A are just not personal favorites. I know for some folks they are. Pulling back up the track list here so I don't mix them all up, which I'm prone to do if I don't look at them sometimes. AIR is okay. It may be one of those songs I've just heard too much and lost interest in. Lone Justice is another one of those songs that it's like the State of Euphoria songs. It should be good. Then I play it, and it feels like it's missing something.
Alan, I don't mean to interrupt, but I was gonna go piss, but I'm just pissed my pants. Fuck it. Fuck it. I am getting enraged here right now. I feel like we're getting into a transgender debate.
Is that the operation he's having on the table? That would put a new spin on things.
I feel assaulted right now. Your opinion, sir.
We will get to your take on Spreading in a little bit, I guess. But the album does get rolling and gets better. I like the second. It's one of those albums where I like the second half better than the first half overall. I think part of it too. This was not the Anthrax album of my youth. The Anthrax album, where we kids, my group, became aware of Anthrax was a little bit after this. This was an album we had to go back and check out later after the fact. And so it didn't really have quite the same maybe, impact or influence on us as a certain later album does. But we'll get to that one later. So Spreading, not a bad album. You've got it ranked fairly high here, but I do take some issue with a few things on the album. Yeah, it does contain, of course, Armed and Dangerous, which some folks are tired of that one too. But
I love that song.
I really dig that one.
Song.
That's a rager for me. I like Medusa. I like The Enemy at the end of side A. So yeah, overall a pretty good album, but one that has some flaws for me at least. So that's my number 4, and we'll get Philip a bag to breathe in and out of for a moment or two while Marty does his number 4. So, Marty, what you got at number 4?
I feel like a trumper right now listening to you Biden people. Fucking.
Well, for me,
Oh,
my number 4 is Fistful of Metal. Honestly, I entered into the Anthrax realm in the Joey Belladonna era, and I got this. I think Spreading was my first. This is my second. I really like this album. If you think about it, these guys kind of went in the trajectory of Slayer. I mean, this is their most new wave of British heavy metal influenced. Slayer's is Show No Mercy. Then they went more thrashy as they went on from there. Neil Turbin's voice rules on this. The songwriting is great. I'm understanding that Dan Wilker wrote about 90% of the riffs on this album. I don't know how true that is. Death Rider, Metal Thrashing Mad is a great fucking song.
Martin,
Yes.
both of your co-hosts are now sitting in puddles of their own juices.
Why?
Just so you know where things
Because this is
stand.
number 4. Because this is number 4.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed
Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
and wet,
I just,
but not in the fun way.
but not in the good Las Vegas way. Okay.
No, more like in the the Trump and the Russian videos kind of way.
Howling Furies, Death from Above. God, it's a great record, and it was kind of hard to put it at 4, but man, 4 is not bad, is it? 4th place isn't bad. I know you're sitting in your own pee over this, but
You're making me laugh, Marty.
great record, awful cover, solid record, very good record. Phil, you're back.
I don't
See, my pick doesn't look so bad now, does it, Philip? Marty, thank you for taking the heat off of me.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
People shit on that cover.
Yeah, it's just not good.
What?
It's just not good.
Well, it's not right. Everyone's like, it doesn't make sense. The thumb is that way. Yeah, but if you're holding someone's fucking head that way, then it makes sense. Think outside the box, people.
Yeah.
All right, number 3. Oh, listen to Crunchy Munchy. Speaking of that, I have on VHS my favorite Anthrax interview. It is only in Canada, it was on Much Music, and it's Dan Spitz and Frankie Bello. What a great combination for an interview. And Dan Spitz is eating a pizza pocket that's clearly been microwaved too long, and it's dripping down and it's burning his face. But he is so committed to it. And I'll never forget the quote from he's like, what do you want when you're 16 years old? He's like, you want booze? Can't get it. You get it. He's like, you want Playboy magazine? Can't get it. You get it. Get it. It was like, Spitz, you fucking got it. You got it, man. This is why I fucking love Anthrax, man.
Yeah.
All right. So we're at what, number 3? For me?
Number 3.
Oh, here comes the hate crew again. Oh my, I'm being controversial again. Hold on a sec. Let me grab these. All right, I'm down to the 3.
Attack of the Killer Bees, number 1.
You know, Attack of the Killer Bees had a sequel, which I hate to go back and like, oh, I forgot to say this material, but what do you call it? Volume 8 is Attack of the Killer Bees Part 2. That's Volume 8. That's Killer Bees Volume 8 Part 2. It's so like all over the place. It feels like covers. It's so many, that was originally a Descartes. What you were at. This Death to False AOR, man. That's the greatest quote of all time. And that's this man right here.
It is.
All right. Fuck. I digress.
Tom is a treasure.
Tom is a treasure.
He's a treasure.
International treasure. There you go. Number
Good
3.
stuff.
To put this at 3 was a little bit harder. But again, this is the let me get the glare off. It's really getting on my nerve. Are we allowed to unsleeve on shows?
You can unsleeve all day long, yeah.
You can take it off. We just don't want to see you put it back on.
Take it off. It feels better. I'm going to tell you right now. This was one of the reasons why I did this in State of Euphoria. I kind of bought them at the same time because as a kid, this thing where I was telling you about Nova Scotia gas station, I recognized on a poster that I have on the ceiling, which you can see, of Anthrax around a paper mache not man. And I was like, is that Mr. Funnyface? Right? And then I went back and then listened, and I'm like, is that Julian Beck from Poltergeist 2? Because I was a big Fangoria horror guy. And then I researched it, and I'm like, oh my God. And this is what a striking cover, too. And the fact that they actually had Julian Beck, who was dying of cancer at the time, like on this cover, is fantastic cover, right? And then I turned it around, and then I saw Charlie there, wearing a Day of the Dead shirt, and I'm like, yes, please. Right? It doesn't matter what they were singing. It could have been Michael Bolton, and I would have followed them into hell. The album is great. It is a little bit overrated. And I know everyone's going to be pissed off with me for saying that. I do think that the deep tracks on this album are actually impressive. Even better, I do like One World. I love Horror of It All, Imitation of Life. And if you have a chance, if you have the deluxe CD or just go online, it's the 90s. Listen to the One World extended mix, the original version, an alternate recording. And it sounds like it should be from Spreading the Disease. Joey gets to breathe a little bit, and it's a little bit more melodic. All right. But oh my God, Skeleton in the Closet, I Am the Law, which I was a big Judge Dredd fan before I got into Anthrax because of my cousin. He was English, and he brought back Strontium Dog and all that like 2000 AD comic stuff. So then when I saw this band that was like really promoting this shit, and you got a song about Judge Dredd, I'm like, fuck you, man. Like, this is it. And I have to be honest with you. Anybody that watches my show, not to make it about me, but just to let you know, I mean, I've patterned my entire show based on Anthrax. It's like we like to have fun. We like to smile. We're silly, but don't kid yourself. We're metal, and we know our shit. I'm not tooting my own horn here, right? But we take being not very serious very seriously.
Right on.
And I think that's Anthrax's, like, that's their motto. This is a beautiful album, and really it should be up a little bit higher, but it sounds like shit sometimes too. That Eddie Kramer guy, I mean, everyone's, Eddie Kramer, Hendrix and shit. Fuck you, man. No.
Kiss.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting me, because you're right. Kiss is better than Hendrix, and I
agree.
I'm not. I Stole Your Love. Fuck you, Hendrix.
Okay, yeah.
You didn't write that. You didn't write Christine 16.
Cringiest song ever. Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a Chicken Hawk Predator song every now and then.
All right.
Yes, the Handsome Beasts.
You're a beast.
Alan, you're number 3.
Number 3 for me is also Among the Living.
Hey.
And this is the album that, yes, my class picked up on Anthrax at this point. I remember one of the other kids at school having that Among the Living back patch, on his denim jacket. And I remember thinking, that is really fucking cool looking. I'm going to have to hear that. That said, I can also agree with Philip. This album is slightly overrated, very, very slightly, but it is just a wee bit overrated in general. Great album. This album for me, the reason it's number 3 though, isn't because I think it's a tad overrated. It's nothing about any of the particular songs. There's really nothing on here I don't like. The reason it's number 3 for me is I've heard this album so much.
Oh yeah.
Especially, in some songs in particular, Indians. Thank you, SM, Sirius Radio. You have played that song enough.
They only have 17 songs. It's not their fault.
Across 3 stations, I can hear that song at least 3 times a day, commuting back and forth to work. It's just like, guys, they've got all these other albums. You could pick other songs from. You could pick another song from this album, and every now and then they'll play Caught in a Mosh. It's just like, there's 9 good songs here. Why do you keep playing this one song all the goddamn time? It drives me nuts with radio stations. It's why I don't really listen to them very much anymore. So yeah, it's just a little bit. It's burnout on this one. I've heard it, and I've heard it some more. And again, I like it. Caught in a Mosh is an all-time favorite song of mine. It's the first Anthrax song I ever heard. I instantly liked it. But yeah, I could not play this album for the next 10 years, and I probably wouldn't miss it, and I'd probably still remember, 99% of it after a decade. So a great album. This for me is, sort of, peak Anthrax. They may have gotten more popular with State of Euphoria, but yeah, again, whereas that album kind of misfired a little bit, this album, really clicks quite well. And that's the pattern I was alluding to earlier. Early in their career with Anthrax, for me, it's an on-again, off-again thing. I'll like one album. The next album is okay. The next album I like a lot. The album after that is kind of, it's okay. So Spreading the Disease, it's all right. Not bad. This album's really good. State of Euphoria, I already discussed that. Persistence of Time, well, I haven't gotten to that one yet. So, it's kind of weird. But yeah, there's this up and down pattern in their catalog for me. And but this is one of the high points for sure. Among the Living at number 3. Marty, what have you got at number 3?
Original shirt.
Nice. Captain K's comment, nothing ruins music like the radio. I just wrote it down because that's a great quote. It's so fucking true. So true.
I get it with like FM radio. They essentially have to play the same damn songs over and over. What is it with it on these Sirius stations, though? I mean, in theory, they can kind of play whatever the fuck they want to, and they've got just massive amounts of music to choose from. Why are they playing the same handful of songs over and over again across Ozzy's Boneyard and Liquid Metal and even the damn Hair Metal station, Hair Nation? I can literally hear the same Def Leppard song on all three stations within a 45-minute drive. Why?
Well, do you remember, speaking of Ozzy, do you remember when he was on the State of Euphoria tour and he was on the video for...
Yeah, he lifted up. He was the Knot Man. He lifted... Yeah, yep. Very cool.
Yeah,
all right, Marty.
I was very excited about that as a kid.
Okay. My number 3, Among the Living.
That is our 3 right around.
That's a hat trick. That's a hat trick right there.
Hockey terms. I get it.
I get it. Yep. I cannot tell you, when this album came out, I bought it the day it came out on cassette. I listened to this album probably 5 times a day, every day for a month. Easily. That's no... Granted, I didn't have a lot of tapes back then, but man, I was living and breathing. I had the Walkman, the Sony Walkman, and I was walking around listening to this shit in the woods. I was listening to this shit in my bedroom. I was listening to this shit. My parents were driving to the store. This was my jam.
Glorious times, Marty. When your music collection consisted of 12 tapes,
yep,
you ate them. You memorized every liner note. It was a better time.
Even if it was bad. Even if it was bad. Yep. This wasn't bad. And I kind of burnt myself out on it after probably about 4 months. But still, this album holds up great. Yeah, I hear I Am the Law and Indians a lot on Sirius XM. That's fine. But I look at the track listing. Nothing bothers me. I like every song on here. Mm-hmm. I really do. There's no weak points. I don't know. It's a great record. It should have been higher, but again, nostalgia. There's a couple other albums I probably listened to a little bit more as well, but great record, absolute classic, strong image on the cover, like Phil said, really great. Awesome album. It's a classic, total classic album.
If there's ever a point where we can get away with one of us coming out in a ceremonial Indian headdress, now is the time on a hat trick for 3 white dudes, because this is our moment. After this, it's not going to happen.
It's passing into the night.
We talked positively about Malaya Rage a couple of Wednesdays ago. That may be the closest we get.
Yeah.
Alan came out with his dude hat, and I said earlier before we started, I was like, "Can you imagine if he came out with Injun on there, just like Joey?" I could just fucking imagine.
I like my job, and I'd like to keep it.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
but it's a great opportunity for me to move into heavy metallurgy.
We're always talking about my real job.
No, this is your real gig, Turok the Dinosaur Hunter.
Oh, I like Turok. That was one of the first comic books I had back when I was like 4 years old.
Speaking of Anthrax, right? Bunch of fucking nerds.
All right, number 2, Phil. Where are you at?
This one almost fucking killed me. Almost killed me. Here we go. It should be number 1, but it isn't. I fucking adore Neil Turbin. I love the 1983 hangover vibe. I love Exciter Worship. I love a band that's constantly doing whoa when they were at L'Amour's, and you watch that, and that's available at your fingertips. Hey man, as much as Anthrax wanted him to fuck up that night, he didn't. He is an angel who fell to earth. Neil Turbin can do no wrong, in my opinion, from his work with Kuni on that Japanese metal album to his Turbine solo little project. Now he's wearing top hats now. You fucked up there. But I love this album. I can't tell you the first. I've got multiple copies. I've got, even on cassette, I have multiple copies. I've got the Caroline version, right? And I've got the, because I'm Canadian, you've got the Bonsai.
I got the Megaforce.
Yeah. There's so many different versions, but goddamn, this is perfect. And to kind of like take us away, just as a flex, here you go. This is the real deal. This is the Soldiers of Metal. Greg D'Angelo's on this. You can really tell, too, it's a different album. Speaking of Identity Crisis, you can tell that Charlie's not in the band at this point. And I always wanted to be in Anthrax. I wanted to live in the same house with them. It was like a Big Brothers situation. I can tell you there would have been problems with me and Scott Rosenfeld, because I would be like, I'll be fighting to hang out with Charlie, talking about comics and drawing and shit like that. Right? Charlie didn't have much influence on this one. He came in on spreading, but this is fucking perfect, and it sounds like a chipmunk if you listen to it. You ever listen to this?
Mm-mm.
And the joke is, on that record store day, I got really pissed off. Allow me to turn to my deep tracks. Excuse me for a second. Talk amongst yourselves for 1 second.
Oh, we need John Bush right now to do a voiceover.
This summer, get the Whopper for 99 cents at Burger King.
All right, that's enough, Alan. You settle down at the back of the class.
We flame broil our Whoppers in a ring of fire.
When you bought the record store day, Turbin was a douche for shitting on Lilker. Lilker and I hugged it out, so that is done with me. But Lilker could barely play bass at the time. He is no Frank Bello. Let's be real here for 1 second.
He's not.
He's not. People are like, nepotism. He's Charlie's nephew. Fuck you. Frank Bello is a goddamn saint. Not as much as Neil Turbin, though. But when that record store day came out, well, for whatever reason, they pulled the old switcheroo. Because when you thought you were buying the giant fistful of metal, which I bought back in, I think probably 91 or something like that. But this right here is what you're getting. This is a blue vinyl. And it's weird because if you look at it, it's got the members of Overkill on the back. Right? And the songs are really strange too. I think that's actually members not only of Overkill, but I think you're getting Agent Steel as well here. But anyway, yeah, this is fully autographed.
Wowie, cool.
Yeah, by the Kiss lineup, the lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the fake Soldiers Metal, whereas this is the real. But it does sound like a chipmunk. But I do love that like Exciter worship. I do love that
Yeah, it's cool.
howling, D&D vibe, sword and sandal kind of thing. Everybody hates Neil Turbin, and but just by reading Scott's book, I think it's horse shit. But my favorite thing that I ever heard, besides Jeff Young getting Avion water imported into Europe so that he could wash his beautiful feathery hair in, was the boys on tour back in the day. Turbin hating the Ghostbusters song at the time, but also when they wanted to use his shampoo, he's like, no, I had it imported from Jerusalem. Which is, you can't write shit like that. You can't use my conditioner because it's imported from Jerusalem. And that, to me, is one of the greatest things I've ever heard. Besides the entire Fistful of Metal record.
There you go. Alan, number 2.
Number 2, every single thing that Philip said there for like the first several minutes regarding Fistful of Metal, I can just copy and paste here.
Side B was terrible, though. I get it.
It should be number 1. I love Neil Turbin's performance on this album. I know some people don't dig him. I don't care. Yes, I love the over-the-top, just going for it, the screams and hollers.
Great riffs.
Some people really... Yeah, I'm going to stop for a minute on that. Some people I've noticed have a real bad reaction when a vocalist just kind of, does one of those off-the-cuff, spontaneous, wah kind of things. And I don't get why that bothers people so much. It really harkens back, to the raw, wild, rock and roll roots of, all this shit. It's, the rockabilly guys just screaming and howling at the moon. And the whole thing with heavy metal is we're supposed to bang our heads and scream and shout. And then, Neil Turbin goes, what? And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that doesn't sound right. You shouldn't do that. You should be more professional as a vocalist. You should be more like Joseph when you sing. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, no.
But great songs on this. Yes, the Exciter worship vibe, killer. Yes, the album maybe has, the guys aren't maybe as technically proficient. Doesn't matter. The cover is not going to hang in the Louvre any day soon. Doesn't matter.
It hangs in my house.
Yes, it can hang in my house anytime it wants to. I don't even mind the Alice Cooper cover in the middle. Somehow the vibe of it just fits correctly. It's a fun album. It's a classic record. It's a damn good record. I really came this close to putting it number 1, and
same
I just
brother.
couldn't quite bring myself to do it because, and I guess the reason I didn't, if I'm going to have to justify it, which I guess I really don't. Fuck y'all, I don't have to justify myself. I'm leaving.
Oh, you do. After that,
okay.
Spreading the disease shit, you do.
If I have to justify it, the reason maybe I put it at number 2 instead of number 1 is this isn't the classic Anthrax sound. They did this one album like this, and afterwards, they pretty quickly move on into thrashier, heavier territory, and obviously that worked out very well for them as a career move. But this album is it's a little bit of an anomaly. It's folks have been talking in the chat. When somebody says the word Anthrax, which album do you think of? And a lot of folks have said either Among the Living or State of Euphoria, and I'm kind of in that camp. When I hear the word Anthrax, my Pavlov dog reaction is never going to be to picture Fistful of Metal. As much as I love the album, it's never going to be the first thing that pops to mind. It just isn't. So that's why
That's fair.
That's why I've got it to one step lower than one other album. But another day, another time, this could be, because it's a banger of an album. It's the interesting thing too. It's still Anthrax having fun. They're just having fun in a different way than they would be a few albums later. But it's still a very fun album. All right, Marty. Number 2.
Number two. I'm going with Michael Bolton.
Okay.
Spreading the Disease. Anybody ever notice that the first 2 songs, it puts me in mind a little bit of Power Slave? You've got AIR, which comes out ripping, kind of like Aces High does, and then you got the long wandering kind of odd structured, 2 minutes to midnight with Lone Justice, where Joey's trying to. The riffs are so busy and the song is so long. It's just he's kind of trying to find a melody in there, but he's just kind of cramming words. It kind of reminds me of the Power Slave thing a little bit, but Madhouse Rules, Stand or Fall, what a great fucking song. Aftershock, a great song. Armed and Dangerous, what an amazing song. People say they're sick of that song. I could listen to that song over and over again. This tape, I can't believe it still plays. It should be wore out. I spun it so much. So good. But yes, this is my number 2. Probably should have been number 1. Medusa, Gung Ho. So good. Wasn't this the same era, the same year that SOD's March of the SOD came out? I believe so.
I think so.
It's the same guitar sound. It's the same sharp guitar sound.
And that's my problem with Among the Living. This had way too much influence on it. I rest my case.
That had too much influence on Among the Living?
Yeah, it did.
Huh. Okay. I thought it sounded a lot more like Spreading as far as guitar tone. They recorded at the same era, didn't they?
Yeah, it's because they had recorded the full album, and Neil Turbin, they got into it like some chicanery, and Neil gets fired, and it's basically worship music all over again. They're looking for a new singer, and they find the guy Joseph Bellardini. He comes in to save the day. It's the same fucking story all over again.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the thing. But Anthrax is trying to be New York hardcore at that point, and they're doing those concerts with DRI and shit like that, and they're pretending I'm not saying they're pretending. That's not right. I'm sure they were into it, but they should have known their place. If you're going to be releasing Spreading the Disease, you know what I mean? Like Billy Milano, if you're associating with Billy, they look like fucking. What's that movie with what was it? Drill Bit Taylor? You know what I mean? Do you ever see that movie? It's a horrible movie with Owen Wilson or whatever, the other Wilson guy. But they're hanging out with a guy who's tough, was supposed to protect them. And that's what I think. Anthrax were like 3.5 feet tall. They're the American Killer Dwarfs, and they hook up with like Billy Milano, who's into the hardcore scene, and they again have identity issues, and they're like, well, you get us into this hardcore scene, and you know what I mean. And then by the time Among the Living came out, that Billy Milano that hardcore sound kind of spreaded that disease onto Anthrax.
I gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there was much more hardcore scene influence on Among the Living.
Okay. You're up, Phil, with your number 1.
It's kind of anticlimactic now, isn't it? This right here is it's my favorite Anthrax record of all time. Anthrax's greatest strength has always been their Achilles heel, and that's the smooth, beautiful melodic voice of Joey Belladonna, and that's what separates Anthrax from the other big 3.
Mm-hmm.
There is that, Joey likes Journey, he likes AOR and shit like that. Yeah, he does. You know, when he was with Bible Black, he, you know what I mean, it was a different kind of sound from Rochester than what those guys were into with that rap punk, influence. But I mean, you were talking about Lone Justice. I can't even believe you guys were even talking even remotely negative about that song. In fact, get ready for this. Not only is this my number 1 Anthrax album, Lone Justice is my number 1 Anthrax song. Maybe I'm a big Clint Eastwood guy.
Are you a 2 minutes to midnight guy?
Fuck 2 minutes to midnight. I don't even like Filler Slave.
Filler Slave.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to turn this into Iron Maiden. We talked about this on the arcade episode, but I'm going to tell you right now, that album is overrated. I mean, there's like Big Aura and 2 Minutes to Midnight and all that other shit going on, and that like half-hour version of what is it, Power Slave or Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. But no, Gung Ho, which is a Neil Turbin song, you can just look at the lyrics. You could tell Neil Turbin is alive and well in that song. Medusa's fantastic. It's silly.
That's a good song.
I love Frankie on backing vocals, man. He is the Michael Anthony of that band too.
Yep.
The Enemy is, that's the socially conscious Anthrax coming out for the first time. But Lone Justice, oh shit. AIR too. Again, Adolescence in Red. This is Anthrax with Charlie Benante finally, getting to put his fingerprints on this, and I really, really respect it. I really love it. And if I could move into this album and pay rent, this would be the album I'd do so.
Right on. Great. Alan.
Let's see. Only one left for me is Persistence of Time. And I know a lot of folks are not as high on that album. Reasons, everything Philip said about it earlier. Yeah, it's a fair. This album can be criticized. It is Anthrax getting a lot more serious and a bit, darker than they had been before. That's all true. Some of the songs on this album are too long. There are some that should have been trimmed down a bit. Folks have made that criticism of the album before, and it's a fair point. The album does go a tad too long with some of it. But that said, it's also Anthrax sounding incredibly tight. It's got, lots of very memorable, very catchy songs. Thrash went through this, phase, after bands, got out of their sort of just, headbanging and hell-raising phase. Lots and lots of thrash bands went more into this kind of, social commentary phase where they started, tackling the issues of the day and all that stuff. And I always thought this album was one of the best ones that did that. Every band did it, for at least an album or half an album, but I think Persistence of Time might, if it's not the best one, it's way, way up there in terms of how bands, wrote good songs that were still good songs you wanted to hear, but had, the lyrical content that didn't make you think about something besides just, where you were getting your next quarter cup of beer and, whether or not you were going to piss your denim pants on the way home from the concert. So yeah. I love the songs. I like this. The cover song is cool. It fits in perfectly with it. It's still got good energy throughout most of the album. I get why people don't like it. It is a little atypical from what they had done before. If people didn't like that shift, that's cool. If people, the songs drag a little bit too much for some folks. I get that too. I can see that. But the bottom line is this: out of all the Anthrax albums, this is the one I go back to and play the most by a pretty comfortable margin. So as such, I've got it ranked number 1 tonight. Marty, wrap it on up for us. What's at the top of your stack? Copycat.
That's why I laughed when you said, I said, no way. Because yeah, here we are. This is
Youth for Social Justice Front album. Holy fuck.
This album, it took me a minute to wrap my head around it, but when it clicked, I really appreciated a little darker thread going through the Anthrax sound. I really like the Joe Jackson cover. They do a really good cover, Got the Time, which is a really fun song with them doing it, putting the Anthrax spin on it. I like every song on here. It's a solid record. It's long. I wouldn't shave it, man. I like it for what it is. And like Alan said, when I listen to Anthrax, it's either this album or this album, which is weird. It's just because the main reason is these older albums I've listened to so many times. Like I said, for 1 month, I listened to Among the Living every day for 4 or 5 times a day, every day for a month, and then a bunch after that on top of it. So I mean, I've clocked in my hours. I've clocked in my hours with that old material. I love it. But this album to me is always fun. It's always fresh. I love it. I think it's solid. It's them at their most social. They're laying down a lot of great, social commentary on here, and the music's
It's a
awesome.
smart album. It's a smart.
It's a very smart album, and it's a well-written album. The riffs are good. They seem to be in tune with each other on this album. That's why it seems so strange that Joey was suddenly out and Armored in Chains Pantera Thrax started.
Joey Belladonna's out? You mean he's out of the closet?
Oh, here he starts crying. Here he goes.
That shit. I gotta go bake some cookies for Philip now.
Yeah, we gotta get him out of school. Give him a day off of school, and but yep, this is my number one. No shame in that game.
I wanted to show you a couple of things, man, because here's I got a bunch of visual aids that I never brought up tonight.
No, bring them up now. Now's the time.
This is the original. If you're gonna get any Anthrax shirt, if you're a true blue Anthrax fan, this is the original, not shirt from the.
I'm pretty sure the original had sleeves on it, but I could be wrong.
No, motherfucker. You want to?
That looks customized.
No. What is a Homer Simpson? Going to shave my shoulders. And check this out, man. My wife wears this now. My Dan Spitz wife. Check this out, man. I remember my dad getting this for me.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and again, same, spreading the disease. I have every Anthrax shirt ever created up till I think We've Come For You All. I have never given up on this band, even when I was at my hardest on them. Like, even when they disappointed me, even when, shit like this kept coming out, and Attack of the Killer A's and shit I stayed with them because I owed them a great debt, because they were, in all honesty, my best friends. And that might sound like a very sad, pathetic thing, but Anthrax were my best friends. That whole Flying Over Your House, 5 guys named Anthrax, meant the world to me. And I really enjoyed that about them. The graphically obsessed comic book nerds hanging out in jam shorts when everyone else is wearing like black, tight vasectomy jeans in the desert. These guys just wanted to have a good time. They didn't really get along, and we all learned that, even Danny Bonaducci and the Partridge Family, it wasn't life on that rainbow checkered bus.
Right.
But the illusion of camaraderie and friendship and meant the world to me. And then we grew up, and that's the sad part. And
it's best not to know your idols. I mean, once you start knowing all the details, it kind of kills it,
Yeah, and persistence of time is when Anthrax grew up. And again, that's where Sound of White Noise came in. And again, that's when Mom and Dad divorced, and reality kicks in. And then what happened to Anthrax after that, whether you hate that or love it, it's interesting because their New York East Coast background had a major influence on that. And I respect the shit out of them. And that's why I wanted to do this show tonight, man. I really because I know people shit on that. Well, fuck you. You don't get it, because this is more culturally significant than what you even can possibly realize.
Yep.
I will tell you something too, though, because we've passed over a lot of things that defined Anthrax.
Well, let's nail it now. Now, bring it out now before we pull the plug on this.
Well, we've done a lot of that shit. Besides, which I brought up.
While you do that, I'm gonna go urinate.
No, I'm not doing it while you urinate. Fuck you. You're going to...
I can still hear you. I'm just going to be over here peeing, so I can hear you.
If you can't piss in front of us in a bucket like the rest of us grown men, something wrong.
Philip and I showed Marty enough respect to piss in our chairs in front of while he was on the mic. So, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him.
What was it with was it Mayhem that did that? Fuck you! Fuck! I'm going to start getting sour now. I'm waiting for Marty. I don't give a fuck about the uncomfortable silence. Hey, Alan, how are you?
I'm doing good. Now, once we wrap up here, Philip, just as a reminder, you got to stay on, for the after party. You still have some homework to
Oh
do.
yeah. Okay. Hold
There's
that
an
up for a
assignment
second.
due.
Hold that up. Go big. Can you go large, or is that Marty's domain?
Marty can do it much faster than I can. I can
Oh my
probably figure out a
God,
way to do it.
Alan, do you know what you're coming across as to me?
What is that?
An associate professor.
That's actually a higher rank than they give me for real. So thank you. I'm moving up.
Hey, check this out, man. I fell asleep the other night in front of the fire, and this mosquito gorged on me. Oh,
Dag.
Fuck, look at that. Oh,
shit.
But he was the fattest mosquito on earth. I know that's what everybody's tuning in right now, but I don't give a shit because I'm going through my Sound of White Noise era. Oh, yeah. Oh, you got it.
Found the right button.
This crazy bitch right here. I know you were like talking about how they're all perverts looking there trying to they're chicken hawking her and all that shit.
Yeah,
no, man.
If folks, just for some context real quick before Philip explains, we were talking about this album Wednesday night with the record club. It just kind of came up as a fun side thing. This is often cited as like one of the worst heavy metal album covers. It's a small band called Arians from the early 80s. Yeah, it's this weird black and white cover with the band members, peeking in the window at this little girl playing with all these toys that are like left over from a 1960s orphanage fire.
Carnival.
Philip was in the chat, and he asserted that he had a very take on this particular piece of art. So I asked him to come ready to defend this.
Hold it up.
Yep, there we go.
All you got to do is just pan to the right and then zoom in on the master bedroom, and her fucking parents have their throats slit, and this crazy bitch right here, Poltergeist 2 style, is completely possessed and obsessed, talking to a possessed phone. She summoned these bastards.
She's playing with the Kathy Chats-a-lot telephone. It was like the 1973 Mattel version.
What I can assure you, Alan, is that they're not there to harm her. She controls them. Look at their faces. Oh yeah.
Not a single mustache in the group. What's going on there?
That's
that
your
seems
first
like a
sign
missed opportunity. Missed opportunity.
The look on their faces is the same when you see like about 53 minutes into every single episode of To Catch a Predator.
Yeah, but what I love about it is that this was actually a band shot that they took like in a proper studio. Mm-hmm. And then some graphic designer like used pre-Photoshop cutting techniques and put that child on the front because he promised his new girlfriends that they were going to put their daughter on the cover of a record. That's my take.
I have never understood, how that picture, how that concept came to be, and how there had to be levels that album, that had to be approved for that to actually go to press.
Marty,
and somehow it made it past all those levels. It's crazy stuff. Anyway,
Alan, in the words of Spinal Tap, what's wrong with being sexy?
Well, nothing, and I should know.
I say it every day.
But now that Marty has finished micturating, let us get back to some cool Anthrax memorabilia.
Besides all the tapes I have, right? That's all. Sound like Paul Heyman from. Look at this. Well, if you don't mind, sir, I have this right here, which is when I first got into Anthrax. This was the holy grail, man. Fistful of Anthrax. You guys hear of this?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Never seen it.
The inside photos are really cool because they're in Japan there, and there's a lot of cool stuff on that. So that's a very rare, attainable record at the same time. I'll go through them really fast. This is a weird one. Has anyone ever seen this bootleg?
No.
And it's got like, when I was doing Chromium Dioxide, it says Architects from Hell, and it's got a map of hell, which I have used for Chromium Dioxide. This is what I'm actually using as the blueprint for the 7 levels.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. And everything is labeled wrong. I don't look at this title right here, where's Audience Rocks. Look at the first song. Zarathustra. What the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah, but it's the original Anthrax songs, "Wheels of Steel," and Neil Turbin is like, it's hilarious. Let's talk about this for a second. Do not dismiss this record because this is a gateway album. Speaking of gateway Anthrax albums, I can't think of even like I remember being at the Y with like preps and jocks who had no interest in thrash or Persistence of Time, but they
Mhm.
all bought Attack of the Killer Bees.
Yep.
What was
What's
it
on
about
that?
this
What's
one?
on that?
What's not on that is a better question, right? You know, you got Milk, the Redux, Redo, Bring the Noise, Keep It in the Family, Starting Up a Posse. Tipper Gore must have fainted her ass off. Chromatic Death, Parasite, Belly of the Beast, Live. It's a gimmick album,
Yep.
but it's probably one of their greatest sellers.
Well, and there's no
Yep.
denying the crossover potential between Public Enemy and Anthrax. That's a huge moment in for sure. And I just it was never my thing, so I never showed it or talked. I don't own any of that stuff, but there's no denying that they were innovators in that aspect as well.
Well, I was a huge Fat Boys guy before I got into metal, and I was a huge Run DMC and not really Public Enemy, but it wasn't too foreign to me. So
Yeah.
when they started to do that Public Enemy thing, I had no problems with it. And this is probably the first time Anthrax. This was probably what shot Anthrax in the foot. Right off the bat. When the Master of Puppets and all that shit was coming on, and they decided to play it fun and have a
Yep.
good time and play like, send up to Rodney Dangerfield's Easy
The
Money.
I'm the Man song was, I think, the B-side on the Judge Dredd I'm the Law cassette single I had. Yeah. I had that on tape. I don't know what
Yeah.
the fuck happened to it, but I used to have it on tape.
I've got a bunch of Anthrax shirts, but I have one of the most valuable records. It's up in the attic. I didn't bother to get it down. Is a Buddy Love Bomb in the Satan's Lounge band T-shirt. That is a very rare shirt,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So that's that. But yeah, you can't underestimate Anthrax having a good time, but sometimes they had too much fun.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what got them. And this was another rare one too. I remember my girlfriend at the time got me this as a birthday gift. And again, you're talking about in the Columbia House era.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To get this, she sent away to this pre-eBay, anything, and she found it in like an intergalactic trading company post, and she got it coming into me. And I remember when I made love to her, I really meant it that night. I mean,
All 3 minutes of it was really sincere, I'm sure.
I appreciate that, Marty.
I was going to say 3 inches instead of 3 minutes. So
Very sincere and loving.
Yeah.
did you give her a fistful of metal that night, Philip?
Yeah. Please dress up like my favorite Teletubby, the purple one. Do a little
Purple
twirl.
one, you sick fuck.
I know. Again, you get all these fun things like make me laugh with the gimmicks and stuff. One of my favorite Anthrax videos of all time is them in Germany. Where's Jurgen tonight? He's turned on us.
He has not been on tonight. I have not seen him. He has not made a ruckus on the chat.
Die Total with them live there, and this is some fun stuff right here. And I love it too because of the Anthrax banner is my favorite, because you can tell someone's aunt or someone got together to do it because the logo is ridiculously bad. Right? It's
Is
like,
that taken from the three-way video they did with Overkill and Agent Steel?
if that was done in Germany,
It might
because
be.
that's why those records that I have are always like multiple members of like Overkill and Agent Steel.
Yeah, that they did they put out a videotape of the three of them when they did a show together.
I've got 2 versions of Bring the Noise. I really love this. I love Public Enemy. The first one, I have those records there. I have a pretty cool rap collection, actually. But Yo Bum Rush the Stage, that is an amazing rap album. And I wouldn't have known it if not for Anthrax.
Huh.
Like, yeah. And yeah, I think that. Oh, yes. And then, of course, Inside the Belly of the Beast. This.
I
Right here.
love that record. That's so good.
And if you see, I wish you could see behind me. I have the original poster from that era, and it's one of my prized possessions. And I've got the Armed and Dangerous shirt. I have the Fistful of Metal shirt too, again in the attic. But anything Anthrax put out, I had. I've got all their, like I said, I've got all their passes. I wasn't at those shows, by the way. But it's just such a thing that just like got me into it, like visually and being a collector. Anthrax was the gateway drug for me.
Right on.
Cool stuff, indeed.
All right. Hell yeah. We did it. The Anthrax episode. Could have been with a better person. Thank you so much, Phil, for bringing it up and making us do it. It's been a lot of fun. Spending some shit I haven't heard in a long time or I've never heard before ever. You know,
that's because on Wednesday nights you guys are listening to fucking Goat Penis, and when you said hooker disfigurement the other night and not laughed, I almost fainted by the fire. When I
prostitute disfigurement. Yeah, that's a band.
I am. You've made me a better person. Prostitute disfigurement.
Check them out.
When you said that with a straight face, I was by the fire and I buckled over as if I had cramps in my stomach. I was like, brilliant. Right? But like Goat Penis and all that shit, you guys are into the hip shit, and I just wanted to bring us back.
There was no Goat Penis. We're not covering Goat Penis. What was it?
Fuck you. You guys and all your other cooler friends that are into cooler shit than I am. I just wanted to bring it back. I was taking the music back. I just said, hey guys, let's go back to like 88 and just hang out and just read some comic books. Just be cool.
Hell yeah.
And not talk about disfiguring prostitutes with goat penises. Fuck you guys and your tree branch music. Let's just have some fun.
Well, everybody, you need to go down to Chromium Dioxide Radio. The link in the description and subscribe. I'm going to check right now. I'm wondering, did we?
I probably lost 15.
Probably. Did we reach the goal tonight?
It doesn't. I never do it for that. I only do it for the children.
Yep. Dioxide. I'm checking right online because I don't care.
Do it for this child?
Yes, that little bitch right there is summoning like some hellfire on anyone that doesn't subscribe.
You've gained one since I looked last time. There's one brave soul there. Everybody.
That is a soldier of metal.
Eric,
the web is expanding.
Eric unsubbed, so there you go. That's what happened.
How many times has Eric unsubbed?
He's unsubbed from you a couple times. It's a thing.
He's a fucking punk. Fuck
you keep drawing him back in though. You draw him back in, then he unsubs again. So
Eric and I have this sort of like forbidden like relationship where we slap each other in the face. And I'm like, you dirty bitch. We make love in an old hotel. Full of hate. It's a hate fuck relationship with his punk and my metal.
Well, that's it. Everybody, Wednesday program notes. Tuesday there might be something. Wednesday we're talking about Hypocrisy's new album Worship.
Thanks, Aaron Morris.
And Friday it'll be our 60th episode, and we will be ranking the Halloween collection, which most of you are rolling your eyes right now, but I don't give a shit about that.
Pink Bubbles Go Ape. If that is not number one, because I get excited. I watched what's that YouTube show, Metal something, and he goes through all those. It's a pretty good show. Oh shit, what is that called?
Metal.
Not Metal History, but he goes through everything.
Oh, that Razor Fist guy.
No, not Razor Fist. Although I'm supposed to hate Razor Fist. I really should, because he is not good people. But he is the kind of not good people that I want to hang with.
His like when he does the deep dive on the bands, they're quite good. It's when he starts talking politics is where he fucking loses me for sure.
You know what? Like, he had me at Wasp. He said Wasp's discography perfectly.
Yep. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Metal School. Metal School?
Metal School did a thing on Halloween, and I was in bed.
It was good.
Yeah, because I ate a bag of like dill pickle Doritos, and I was urging over the side of the bed. And I remember they were talking. I was watching this interview with, where they were talking about Pink Bubble or Chameleon, sorry. And I was like, these guys are so full of shit. And they were like, all that whole like scene of heavy metal hamsters. Jesus Christ, what were they thinking?
Yeah. Yep.
I know that I guess they were like thinking like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I guess they thought they were on the cusp of something.
They've always been silly. They have little silly moments, and that there's a couple silly moments on that record, but half that record is good. The other half is like,
I feel the way you approach Halloween and the way I look at them is the way a lot of people that I know look at Anthrax. And it's very like ignorant at times, you know what I mean? Because Halloween has irritated the shit out of me on more than one occasion.
Okay, interesting. Which occasions?
I'm
curious.
Starting with Keepers 2. I'm like, fuck off.
Oof! Look at Alan. He's smiling, but he's got a little twinkle of rage in his eye.
Yeah,
we're actually having fun over here in the chat while letting y'all hash out this particular topic.
he's on Cyberdyne.
Well, fuck it. Anyway, everybody.
No. Hold on. Let's have a drink first.
Okay, let's have a shot. I'll have a shot with you, and then we'll go.
Alan, how old's your son, by the way?
He is 8 now.
Oh, my son is 6, going on 7. Al and Max really wanted to be on the show tonight. He was begging to be on the show because he thinks Lizzie Borden is the greatest thing ever.
Well, yeah.
And the Beastie Boys. He's got that Anthrax B-boy vibe too.
I can drink to that, even if it's just Coke.
May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Oh, everybody get ready because Alan's going to sell us on an awesome catchphrase to close the show out with. Cheers.
Absolutely. What else could we end an Anthrax episode with other than time for us to exit? Terminator exit. Cut it now, Marty. Cut it now. You waited too long. Damn it. Timing, Marty.
Come on.
Gotta work on that
Hurry
timing.
this shit up.
This chicken is drunk, and I love it.
Time for us to exit. Terminator exit.
My mouse died. Here we go. Everybody, we love you. Cheers. Thank you so much for
Marty
watching.
needs super chat dollars to buy a fucking mouse, apparently, people.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good one.
Perfect Anthrax outro. Yeah.